Oh, that dolphin ain't living no. I swam
Damn,
back
they
in
give
that
you a
ocean.
speed boost.
I swam back in that ocean and I offed that dolphin because I thought it
What?
tried to kill me.
Damn.
I swam back in the ocean and I ended him.
After that, I didn't trust any more dolphins. I had 3 more dolphins who followed me after that. I just ran away
Dolphin out
from them.
here is just like, hey, let's
They-
be friends.
I like that
Surprise.
you running away from the dolphins and they're giving you a
friends.
speed boost to run away from them quicker.
I didn't know what was going on.
That should be everything.
This village didn't have anything, and it's super close to the mountain that we made.
I probably robbed it.
Like, it's on the other side of the mountain, the side we never go to.
Probably robbed it.
There's no
You
treasure
was robbed?
chest here, unless you took the chest too.
Of course.
It's right next to this sandy desert area.
Quicker.
And there's the zombie.
Villagers don't deserve nice things.
Villagers don't deserve nice things.
Look, Minecraft teaches you one thing. Don't clip this, anyone. It teaches people how to put people into indentured servitude. Have you seen the villager farms Dan be making?
No.
And yeah. Hey, you shove them into a 1x1 square, put a little job in front of them, and then you force them to trade with you until you get everything that you want out of them. And then they live there forever. You also breed them.
What?
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
I
If you want that good stuff.
He learned it from PewDiePie, and
Before you even do it, you have to turn them into a zombie, then cure them, and then you put them inside of a hole for all of eternity.
I think I'm
Yeah, you
just
can do
gonna.
that too.
I think I'm just gonna stick to my mining.
Well, then you'll never get a mending book to keep your your pickaxe forever.
Wow. I don't care.
You say that until you get Electrum.
I don't even know what that is.
His wings are as a gliding suit that lets you fly around.
Is there a reason I couldn't just get it again?
Because you have to. Well, you have to go back into the
really
inn
hard to get.
to find another inn city, which is very unlikely.
They're really hard to get.
I can't even find iron, so I can't even think about it.
That's also how you get the fortune book, so you can get
I
super
just don't
iron.
think it's worth it to grab a bunch of civilians and be like, you're all now my bitches.
I mean, we're already terraforming the land. Why not make the locals work for us?
Humans do that all the time.
I've terraformed the shit out of the land around.
Look. Let's not say the humans don't do the other thing all the time.
Also, we can't call earthwork terraforming. That's not what terraforming is. We cannot terraform the earth any more than it has already been terraformed. Terraforming is just the process of making a planet more like Terra, which we're on.
I don't know. That sounds like there's a benchmark for what we call Terra, and that benchmark can be.
Let's just say there was less terraforming
it can,
and more just
but
destruction.
only technically.
It's pure.
And that's the best kind of correct.
No, I'm just saying that the benchmark for what Terra is can be moved.
Exactly. So now we can terraform as soon as we move the benchmark.
Not in Minecraft.
Actually, first off, you know what? Who says we're on Earth in Minecraft? Which means if we try to recreate
you
things
can't
like
make Minecraft more like Earth. That process is the changing of the atmospheric content and the natural weather level of the world.
For that.
What is Minecraft's atmosphere but just air blocks that can be picked up and put down?
You can't. What do you mean air blocks you can pick up and put down?
There's a mod for that. Air blocks.
Yeah. As long as mods exist, you can make Minecraft.
Find it!
I want you to find me the mod that says now air is a thing and you can mine it.
Minecraft mineable air. Mining air blocks in Minecraft.
I want.
First video up there.
I want
Tons of
receipts.
videos.
Yeah, you're
How
gonna,
to
You're
make
gonna have to
air
send me
in
the receipts.
Minecraft.
you're gonna lose this. There's a mod for everything.
Air is an
in
invisible
Minecraft.
block used to define empty space when other blocks are air blocks are real.
No. Are they talking about air blocks as in blocks you put in the air, or are they talking about blocks of air?
I'm not sure what you just said to me.
All right, you can very easily do just blocks that are in the air. That's it's simple as hell. You literally stack up 2 blocks and then you hit out the bottom block. Now that block is in the air.
No, actual air.
All right, send me the video.
Sure. I mean, do you want 30 of them?
I want
I don't
one.
know why you find this to be the most crazy thing you've heard.
Because I don't know what the point of this would be, and I want to see what this looks
don't
like.
know what the point. It's Minecraft. There is never a point to have the mods
There's a
made.
Listen,
creeper
your
that
description
was,
of this
like,
sounds like the
exposed
fucking infinite universe
Nick-
argument.
Literally, it's Minecraft.
like a
It's
fair
like, why would
governmental-
someone make this? Why would someone make the Five Nights at Freddy's in Minecraft? Because I had the technology. There's Pokemon Jurassic Park in Minecraft.
Eh.
It's okay.
Right. I believe I am too.
I think we already started streaming.
I'm never ready.
Yeah, we are already streaming.
Oh no.
This is
I
stupid.
know. I found these weird white
Did you
blocks.
think it was gonna be smart? It's air blocks.
I don't even.
There was nothing
First of
intelligent
all,
about it in the first place.
It's not actually air blocks, it's unknown blocks. Secondly, all that this mod is someone put the textures of hitting something onto free spaces so you can swing.
Ta-da!
And I'm just sitting like, this is fucking stupid.
So,
Yes.
let's just say it's the
There's a
equivalent.
lot of stupid Minecraft mods. Whatever the meme of the week is, it's gonna be there.
No matter
anything-
what,
If anything, you're more wrong for trying to find logic in it.
no matter what, you're not terraforming with these air blocks.
I mean,
All right.
There
I won't
are
use the
mods
word
And
terraform.
terraform like Mars and stuff.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what I'm getting at. Let me actually, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but let's look at what the definition of terraforming is.
I doubt you're wrong about this. It's just more fun to talk about the nuanced gray area of like we can do whatever we want.
Especially in science fiction, transforming a planet so as to resemble the Earth, especially so that it can support human life. You know, terraforming in like, what is it, some odd billion years when the sun explodes. That'd be a terrible idea.
Let's terraform the sun.
Terraform the sun!
Well,
I think
we
that
could
might be
make
a
a
mod
Dyson
in
sphere
Minecraft.
around the
How?
sun.
How would you terraform the sun?
More
You
dirt.
make a Dyson sphere.
No, that doesn't make the sun livable. Do you know what a Dyson sphere does?
Yeah, it turns the sun into an energy source, and the sphere is basically the planet or
Oh,
you
no,
form
wait.
around it.
You had it
Yeah.
until the end there. You don't make a Dyson sphere and then live on the Dyson sphere.
Well, you live on a ring.
No, you don't live on the Dyson. You make the
Wait,
Dyson
what if I
sphere
want to?
and then you
Chotomate.
don't touch it.
Chotomate, onegai shimasu. I got it. We build humans different.
We terraform humans.
Yes, we don't terraform the sun.
No, you don't
You
terraform
live on the
humans.
sun.
I don't
You
want to
don't.
be a planet that is survivable on by humans.
That
It's-
sounds like a personal problem.
We build humans different, and then we adjust the planet to our needs.
What's wrong,
Dude,
Tyson? You don't want
wonder what-
you don't want somebody inside you. You don't want to be penetrated.
Too late. You already are. You're something else's planet.
I don't like this
True.
reality, and so I will substitute it with my own.
All
Great stuff. Great stuff.
What a way to start a WAMM.
No, I fell out of my boat.
That sounds
We're
like
on
you.
YouTube now.
You're off the boat. Off the boat.
Too
I'm also
tall
lost.
for
I
his own
forgot to
boat.
bring my compass.
That also does sound like you.
I don't know. Oh, I thought a new Gridman came out.
That'd be dope.
Where is... There we go.
Oh?
I'm trying to think. There, on the going back to my previous definition of terraforming by making things look like the planet, there are some dedicated servers, without mods even, that just decided to recreate shit.
You mean Minecraft Earth?
I believe so.
That's the more popular.
Ah, you mean the
It's quite
people,
impressive.
the people who rebuilt New York, put the Twin Towers in there so they could blow them up all over again.
That's...
It was wild. It was a very controversial one in the comment section.
I imagine it would be.
You know, as bad as that is, I like the idea of when they were doing that, they didn't tell anybody that was the plan.
Okay.
Like, we're doing this as a memorial to the loss of
I
the
would've
Twin.
been-
And then the second they get it up, crash.
The moment I'd be in that server and I see two groups, or at least two players, building two identical looking towers, I go like, where are we again? And they say New York, and I go, admin?
Ivan, help!
See, the
What
real-
you doing over there?
See, the real problem is when you look at them to start changing their skins. It's like, what are you doing? Nothing.
This is
what
what
was
Why
that?
did you put on the head towel armor? No reason.
Why do you have a stick? Why do you have a stick of TNT in your hand?
I don't.
Don't worry about it.
It's in my pocket.
Why did you need so much redstone?
What do you want?
Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it.
Why are you guys building the plane?
Oh,
For
you
the
know,
airport.
planes exist, right?
To
Union
JFK
Station
Airport, what are we supposed to do? Just assume that there's not going to be planes at JFK Airport?
Exactly.
Oh, the cops.
I'm calling the police. I'm calling the weed.
Burnt, 420. What's you smoking?
I'm not even gonna say what happened when they built Japan in Minecraft.
That probably took
That
a
makes
lot
a
of
lot of
TNT.
No,
Yeah.
there's already a mod for it.
Also,
Only
I can't
one
imagine.
TNT.
I can't imagine. Unlike the Twin Towers, which is definitely documented, the bombs weren't that well documented.
What?
Like pictures
Well,
and stuff.
the only
You wouldn't
people
be-
who
you
experienced
wouldn't be able
it.
to accurately.
Oh,
They wouldn't be able to accurately recreate it.
No, they stuck a camera out the back of the Enola Gay. We have pictures of it.
How
That's
many?
fucked up.
That we have a picture of it?
How
How
many?
many though?
We have more than one?
Right.
Yes.
At
Yes,
least
we have
one.
we have enough
I mean, like-
pictures.
Sure, like 50 old-timey 1950 pictures compared to televised 2001 helicopter feed. I don't know.
You know-
One seems like an easier base to recreate things than the other.
You know what kind of
God,
got
it's
crazy
such
to
a-
me in my head for a second?
It's such a weird name.
Kaiser didn't believe the air blocks, and my brain's like, it just thought, man, there's like an entire black hole mod that works.
Oh, that sounds funny. How do you control it?
Well, they figured it out, but well, depends on which one you download. There's actually a Predator missile mod where you can watch the Predator missile fly through the sky and hit things.
That is
That's
fucking
pretty
crazy.
And thanks to Minecraft being so simple, you can make anything. Like that actual working Pokemon game.
True. I remember, I believe it was on Game Theory Live that someone had a mod where you could build a telephone and legitimately order pizza through it. It was a functional
Nice.
telephone.
I don't know if that one was real or not, but I believe it.
That was done through and blocks. Oh, which one?
I love the fact that we gotta ask that question.
Because
yeah, it's hard to remember. It's hard to remember the names.
Because there was this one featured for Captain
What's that?
Sparkles where it was like working. It was a phone in Minecraft. It was connected to a webcam. And so there was video footage on the phone in Minecraft. It's just a giant structure.
That's actually pretty cool. I imagine something very similar was done for this pizza call, because pizza was legitimately ordered. So whether or not it was a thing that they just did for the magic of the stream, or if it was an actual functional thing, is no way for me to confirm unless I boot up Minecraft myself.
Yeah, I'm still inclined to believe it just because I've seen dumber things. Anyways, welcome everyone to WAMM.
I hit the start recording button.
Well, I've just welcomed them to our stream. This man's name is Godzilla.
Welcome.
This man's name is Godzilla?
Yep, I'm just running around the Destiny server, and there's a man named Godzilla. He's standing right next to Amber Alert.
Makes sense.
That's not suspicious.
That's not suspicious at all.
Don't be suspicious.
I mean, where else would the missing child be?
In my belly.
Speaking of missing children, fucking the ICC has put out a warrant for fucking Putin's arrest.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Indeed. If we want to talk about actual monsters,
Nova, please.
You can always look at the human condition.
Just, a step that will be interesting to see how it pans out.
So does this mean that he's like... Does this mean like the country's not being led at this moment if he's presumably on the run?
Hold on, you think that he's running?
Nah. Russia put out some type of statement that was basically, we're not part of your little group, so we don't recognize your authority.
They 1000% are a part of the ICC, but no, literally any time the ICC has been like, you're under arrest, everyone has been like, arrest me then. And the ICC has kind of just sat there like, you win this round.
What are they, big cat predators? They need you to turn around before they know it's safe to hunt you?
They don't even fucking... You can turn around and leave. They won't come after you, really. It's more of just an international committee of peoples have been like, yeah, you did some fucked up shit. And now Putin is like, oh no, really? I didn't realize it.
Oh dear. It makes it sound like that you already didn't know me. I got people to do the torture dance with me.
The whole time.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Just put out the arrest. Wait, you didn't know?
Was a villain?
Maurice, will you be ready to start soon?
I am always ready to start.
Alright, I hit record button in 3, 2, 1, blip.
Hi, welcome to WAMM. We have returned this week to bring you one of my favorite topics, giant monsters. Because
big monster.
Ever since a small child I have always loved giant monsters, from Godzilla to the bugs to just look. If it was over 7 feet tall, I wanted a toy of it.
That included Andre the Giant and Shaquille O'Neal.
I actually had an Andre the Giant toy.
Makes sense.
It was one of those old WWE ones that could talk when you like slam them.
That's dope.
Move the arms around.
Yeah.
Slam jam.
The other one I had was a Triple H one.
I guess my first question for you then, that wasn't even one I wrote down, just a promptu one. What got you enamored with Giant Monster?
Dumb kid brain. But the real answer is the first ever giant monster movie I seen. Gamera, the big ass turtle.
True.
Do you know what that turtle could do?
Pretty much anything at once.
Yeah,
cool.
it did a flip. His special ability was tucking his arms and legs in and his head all into a shell, and then turning into a UFO. Actual rocket propelled, spin itself around into a UFO. And as a kid, my dumb brain was like, cool. And then I saw the better Gamera, Godzilla.
The Gamera without the shell.
No, Godzilla was just much bigger and much more dangerous, and he brought more things to fight.
Also true. I'm pretty sure what Godzilla is between the two. If I'm not mistaken, Godzilla is the older of the two franchises, right?
Yes, I believe Godzilla did come first, but you know, I saw him in my order.
Oh yeah, makes sense. I guess from my personal experience, I've also seen. I can't remember the specific Gamera movie, but I have seen one of the many that have been out. I have seen multiple Godzilla movies, none of them in order. This includes, of course, some of the more recent versions of Godzilla that came out since the 2013, 2011 remakes. It's hard to remember when that one dropped and started this new universe. And then there's also other gigantic monsters that we'll touch on a little bit later.
Yep. And for me, anytime I see a giant monster movie, I just kind of gotta watch it. I want to see what it's like, because I love giant monsters. I'm gonna be honest. As scary as they should be to me, I just find them more cool. Like watching the movies, they show you what would happen if these creatures could exist and not instantly die from their own weight.
Right. I guess my first question in reaction to that: are they meant to be scary? Many of our more modern movies definitely don't make that the case anymore.
It depends, because you look at them like this. Is a tornado scary?
Supposed to be, yeah.
They're just
What
natural
do you mean
disasters.
a tornado's scary?
Is a tornado scary? They're
Yes!
natural disasters. Some people aren't scared of tornadoes.
Tornadoes are nothing.
All right.
Some
Shy.
people will brave a hurricane.
Time
Just
out.
brave as shit.
Hurricanes
Here-
are also nothing.
Let
Oh my
I
God.
need to pause on the tornado discussion
Look,
for a
we
moment.
know where Shy lived.
I know where Shy lived. I live where Shy lived. Tornadoes are in fact scary. The issue is it's kind of like a gun. A gun isn't scary unless it's pointed at you. And with
Okay.
tornadoes, you can literally... You know the whole, like, meme of, like, yes, the very loud tornado siren is going off, and every Midwester just goes outside and watches it from the porch. That's because if you sit there for fucking 4 seconds, you know if you're in trouble. The issue is when you find out, oh, fuck, I am in trouble. Then you're scared. That thing will eat you, and it's wind.
Yeah, that's a kaiju. It's
Oh,
just, you know, it's whatever.
They're absolutely horrifying, but they're alright.
They're one or the... They're not one or the other. They're, in fact, both at the same time.
Nah, that's alright.
That's fine.
Like I had a gun pointed at me, and I'm like, yeah, it's whatever.
I bet if so I love how Shy confident. Yes, these phenomenon. Pshaw, easy clap. I bet the moment Shy even has like a tectonic plate just jiggle underneath them, they're like, oh my God, the world is ending.
That's a different natural.
What do you mean?
Different
Earthquakes are
disaster.
literally the easiest fucking thing.
And
I
I
get
also
it.
lived in California, so like I do know.
Oh, you fight earthquakes too?
Okay. So I'm pretty okay. So that means you've encountered the wildfire, and the earthquake, and now the tornadoes. I think then
Look.
some of the only natural disasters left are avalanches and tsunamis.
Yeah, I'm not. messing
Yes,
with you,
the
though.
water.
That's horrifying.
You've dealt with the
Water's
wind.
scary.
You've dealt with the. You've dealt with the
That's
wind. You've dealt with the ground. Now you have to deal with the water tribe.
The-
Oh,
the
also the
Avatar-
fire
yeah, Avatar's
because of
scary.
California.
Avatar's scary.
Yeah,
Back to giant monsters. What was your experience with giant monsters, Kaiser?
None.
Not a single movie you could ever think of had a giant monster in it.
I don't watch giant monster movies. Like, I have passively seen a couple of scenes from the older Godzilla movies. I watched one of the, like, I think it was a late 90s Godzilla movie while at a friend's house in Wyoming, because they were really into Godzilla.
Uh-huh.
There was a woman with a baby Godzilla, I think I remember.
Was it Godzuki or Baby Godzilla?
I don't know. There was
Fair
also a mother Godzilla. So whichever one had both a baby and an adult.
That does not narrow it down.
It was Japanese.
That does not narrow it down.
Well, I don't
Not very
remember any more than that. Godzilla only showed up in, like, the very later stage of the movie.
You didn't even watch King Kong?
I find King Kong to be incredibly boring.
And
This is a topic where I have prepared questions because I am curious about certain things. But to answer your question, Thomas, my experience with giant monsters is the closest I got to regular consumption of giant monsters was Power Rangers.
Didn't you see Starship Troopers?
What part of Starship Troopers is giant monster?
The bugs.
The bugs are like 12 foot tall.
Oh, I didn't know they were small. My apologies.
Well, they're large in comparison to humans, but they're not kaiju.
Okay, what do you
man,
think
hold on.
the size starts and
taller
ends
than
for
8 feet.
kaiju?
Like 20 feet.
That's big.
Kaiju just means giant monster.
All right. I also remember the one. I've watched a lot of, not a lot of, God, the one where they have to meld minds and it's really dumb but also funny.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, thank you.
Rim the Pacific.
Yeah. Then that one actually involves one of my major questions. Fuck. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, we were talking. I don't know. That seems so indistinct.
So
Because if something large makes it a kaiju, if I'm attacked by a great white, I'm in a kaiju fight.
True, but to make it a little more clear for you,
Should a kaiju be something larger than a blue whale?
the term more accurately translates to strange beast, and the entire kaiju genre of entertainment is just about monsters that typically fight the military or other monsters, attacks the city. Many of the common tropes that you may already be familiar with, even if you haven't seen like a Godzilla film. So technically Sharknado, as it was considered one giant creature.
I can count it as one giant creature.
I did watch Sharknado. I did watch a number of other things on the Sci-Fi Channel, but I honestly only watched those because they were on, not because we're like, oh yay, fucking Sharktopus.
Right. Another fun
Sharktopus alone.
Another
Listen,
fun thing that's tied to it. Sharktopus. Oh man, we'll just make up anything. Another, I guess, important background detail to help steer this conversation is that the kaiju subgenre of entertainment is part of the larger tokusatsu, which is a Japanese term that just talks about heavy use of special effects for the creations of their entertainment. This is what we saw in Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, and even in Godzilla, because it's mostly people in suits dealing with small-scape cities and those gigantic climactic battles that you would see in all of those franchises. And also why motherfuckers just like fly through the air because they're on wires.
Okay.
They are on wires.
This, of course, has little to do with our more modern movies. Obviously, like the recent 2010 iteration of God, as most of the stuff CGI animated, so the franchise itself has evolved past the technology that used to find it. But it is something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Overall, I just have never been a particularly large fan of the new Godzilla vs. King Kong movie that came out.
Was
yeah,
fun.
no.
I get that you weren't impressed by it, but it was fun.
I didn't watch it at all. I watched the clips that Maurice... Not that Maurice asked me to, but Maurice recommended to me.
I thought you would have found it hilarious to look at giant monsters do a WWE 3-round match.
I'm trying to think about how to put this.
You can't take it seriously.
The guy just sees this as the fake WWE wrestling.
I don't think
Alright.
anyone's supposed to take King Kong versus Godzilla seriously.
I really hope they didn't. But there definitely were some people out there on the internet that did take it personally.
It was very one-sided.
I did like that campaign.
The thing is that what it comes down to is I'm sure for people who are fans of these large monster kaiju movies that they are like great and fun, and I'm very happy for them. I do not find those types of movies to be a good expenditure of my time.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm trying not to call it a waste of my time, but that's kind of what I feel like they are.
You're not
Fair
interested,
enough.
which is fine. You're allowed to be not interested in things.
Yeah.
Roz,
But yeah, that was about to go to somebody else who does like them. Let's
Roz,
get away
what
from
is
my
your-
negative Nancy ways.
What's your experience with the kaijus and giant monsters?
Well, my first experience is like most people is my first experience was the Power Rangers or Super Sentai, whichever you want to call it. But this is gonna piss Maurice off. My first Godzilla movie was Godzilla 2000.
You poor soul.
I
I'm not pissed
disagree.
off at you. I'm sad for
youngin'.
you.
Right. He didn't choose the movie. The movie chose him.
That's the one with Jack Black, right?
No,
No,
I don't think Jack Black shows up in a Godzilla movie.
he does. Not
Let's
Godzilla.
find out.
I confused Godzilla with King Kong. My
Oh,
brain's
okay.
stupid.
Yeah, he's in a King
yes.
Kong movie.
I mean, we'll get to you.
Skull
we'll definitely
Island.
talk about it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Skull Island.
I also
Uh,
love the fact that everyone keeps calling it the 2000 Godzilla movie. It came out in '98.
Yeah, that
Godzilla
was just what they
2000
called
is a
it.
different movie. Which also didn't come out in 2000.
The one I
in '99.
the one I saw was the one that
I
had
know.
Ferris Bueller in it.
Yeah.
On his day off?
Yeah,
It wasn't a good day off that day.
What is deal?
We don't call that
Wait.
Godzilla no more. It's been turned to Zilla. That's his official name now.
Oh
The
yeah,
Zills?
I remember that Zilla. Isn't that the actual name of one of the movies from the late 2000s, early 2010s? It's just called
No.
Zilla.
No, but they've changed the actual creature's name to Zilla when they brought it back.
Ah, that's funny. Absolutely hilarious. And so, Shy, give me a little bit about your experience with these gigantic monsters that 100% would kill us if they were real.
Oh, I mean, my first experience of any kaiju is not Power Rangers. To be honest, I
Mhm.
started with Skull Island, and Pacific Rim, and then I didn't watch like a Godzilla movie until also Monsters vs. Aliens, I guess.
Yes, they do get big, and they
Giant
do
woman's a
fight.
kaiju.
They do get big, and they do fight. Although it's the
Um,
alien government, not like the government government.
The only Godzilla movie I watched was the first one with Millie Bobby Brown,
Ah, yes.
and that was only for her.
Oh, so fair.
I think she was in the
Even though
second
she
one.
should've- She was in the second one, and she shouldn't be in the second one either.
God
Um,
damn it, I can't remember.
The humans shouldn't really be there.
Well, you need the humans. You just don't need that much of the humans.
It's all humans.
It's
I
all
know.
oops, all
Oops, all
does
humans.
Transformers also count as a kaiju? Like,
Well,
I would say yeah. I don't
in
care.
our Michael Bay version, yes. Because the Transformers series is a little different in that most of the conflict found in the franchise is about the Decepticons and the Autobots, never fulfilling the specific condition I mentioned earlier, where they fight or terrorize a city and have to fight the government in some way, shape, or form. Most of the time, the government doesn't even know that they exist. I don't know how.
Secret
Decepticons
war.
Decepticons blow up the city every 2 days. In those more episodic versions of the franchise. But yeah, I would consider them gigantic kaijus, especially since some of them get very tall.
yeah, I guess all of those I've also seen.
That's
and
good.
A few other. The show on Disney of this kid who got a big old robot and fought kaijus.
Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go?
No.
I mean, there's a
Also
big
Also look it
robot.
up.
Good
But
try.
basically, it's Pacific Rim, but just one teenage boy.
No,
Could
it's
be
not
anything.
Randy Ninth Grade Ninja.
I've always enjoyed
Well, we'll
kaiju
get there.
movies.
I respect.
They are fun. Big robot or big monster punch other big monster. It's just really fun.
One last question from me. Since you actually brought it up in your conversation with Shy, you responded to Shy's. Shy was like, "There's too many humans," and you were like, "But the humans are necessary." I actually had a question about that. A very popular criticism with monster-focused movies are the sort of, why are the humans here? We legitimately only paid our tickets or watched this show to see big monsters slam against each other. Do the humans play an interesting and important part to these kinds of stories, focusing on these monsters? And if you have an example of such, I would love to hear it.
I
Of
found
course. Oh, what is it?
X4.
Never heard.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it. Never saw the show though.
2 seasons.
But
Mostly all. Sorry.
No, go on.
No, you're fine. Good. Whatever.
But the humans are very important into it, as the first one I talked about, Gamera, his whole shtick was he was the protector of children specifically. If a whole man was about to die, he whatever. But if a building about to fall on the kid, Gamera's there.
It's quite sus. I'm gonna be real with you.
Oh
Red
no!
Turtles, but Guardian of the Children. And for Godzilla movies, as you all knows about the atomic bombs and all the everything, so is the effects and devastations that it has on the populace when Godzilla comes out the water to either A, wreck shop, or B, wreck someone's shop.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50-50 depending on the movie. Like, if the movie stars Mothra, Godzilla's just wreaking havoc. And the humans have to go and find the 2 small fairy twins to ask Mothra for help. Mothra comes out and gets her shit kicked, but then Ivor grabs Godzilla and throws him back in the ocean. Then Mothra dies, and she has either 1 or 2 babies.
Thanks, Mothra.
To keep the Mothra line going.
Why do they
Godzilla
keep
just
having
saved
babies
the
if they're born one at a time?
Asexual.
Moths aren't asexual.
Mothra
Mothra
is.
is. And they're all women too. Well, I don't think there's been a male moth.
Yeah, I don't
Heck
think
yeah,
that
go
happens.
Mothra.
Go Mothra.
But yeah, if you ever want to see something funny, just look at the times when Mothra literally picks up Godzilla and throws his ass back in the ocean.
Quite impressive, given the fact that, you know, Godzilla is represented as a gigantic scaly lizard.
Yeah, but you know, if you look at enough of his movies, a lot of his foes like to pick up Godzilla.
Yeah, it's
Again,
flex.
it's quite impressive. Quite impressive that in a lot of those movies, that's a grown man.
There's a grown man getting picked up and slammed.
WWE style. Kaiser, you also said that you have questions. I've asked at least 3.
I do. I am muted, right?
You
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
Sorry,
we hear you.
I've been very sneezy today, and so I've had to mute a couple of times, and I keep getting worried that I haven't unmuted.
Oh no, Kaiser's been atomic blasting his room. How many holes you got in your walls?
None. I cough into my shirt.
Oh,
Holy shirt.
holy shit.
Like I understand
Unholy
to some
shirt.
people, ew, you cough in, you sneeze in your shirt. That's gross. Yeah, it's gross, but it's less gross for everyone else around me, and I don't get any of my grosses on anywhere else.
That's just when you get a tissue.
I don't have any of
But I
those.
don't have any.
I've got paper towels.
Why not?
Because it hurts
Lot
my
of time.
nose. There's no snot involved, it's just spit.
I
Bacteria.
There. Enough of this.
Different questions. I don't want to hear any more about Kaiser.
I mean, you haven't even asked your question.
You're right, I haven't. We got distracted. I'm sorry, it just saw a meme that Roz posted. Sorry, I had to go
I
back
do
to
be posting memes.
So, here we go. I'm sorry, I also have a tab open because I was trying to look up little videos of Mothra throwing Godzilla, and all of these thumbnails just confuse me. Alright, that one's weird. So, here's the thing. To kind of build off of what Thomas was just saying. Thomas asked the question that obviously is the easy one. What part of the story should the humans play? Or how much should the humans be within the story? Here's my issue. It seems like everybody who likes big monster movies seems to hold the opinion of the humans should play as little of a role as possible. But personally, my favorite kaiju movie is in fact, going back over what counts as a kaiju movie, because I had forgotten about it for a minute, Pacific Rim. And my favorite parts of that movie are the parts where they're not in the mech, where they're actually just conversing with each other and, being people. Because I can relate to people. I can't relate to King Kong grabbing a woman and climbing the side of a building and holding her hostage as he's shot by biplanes. That's not entertaining to me.
Fair enough.
Wait, you're telling me you can't relate to just wanting peace and being left alone, but these people keep bothering you?
Just wanting to go home, but these crazy white people have kidnapped you and taken you to New York?
You see, I would agree with that, but in most cases, that's not what kaiju movies are about. King Kong, yes, that the entire thing is an analogy for that whole thing.
Yeah,
Cough.
that thing.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I'm probably allowed to say the words on YouTube, but I don't want to get demonetized.
Fair enough.
Demonetized.
For the whole 4 cents this is worth.
True.
Anyway.
Yes, anyways. Also, a lot of times these monsters are, in fact, they're fucking around. And a lot of times they don't even find out. They just fuck around.
Forces of nature.
For someone like me and anyone else who listens to this who is in the same boat as me, could you help me understand how the flip it is more entertaining to just have large things smashed together when inevitably that leads to almost a lack of a story?
The best way I can answer it is it's not. It's the outcry of the people who see the humans on screen more than the giant monsters. Like in the new series of Godzilla movies, in the first one, in his own movie, Godzilla had 10 minutes on screen. Half of that was underwater.
It's like going to see a John Wick movie and never seeing John Wick.
Just everybody cowering in fear, turning corners. John Wick there? Is he there?
I would actually.
John Wick as a horror villain would actually be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you only see him, or you only get glimpses of him right before you ghost somebody.
What if we had a movie that was basically Hardcore Henry, but you kept going between different henchmen for someone who has angered John Wick?
That would be a different movie. That'd be fun as well. But yes, that's it's normally the outcry of people who want to see the giant monster in the giant monster movie they came to see. And if they don't get that, and nothing but Bryan Cranston dying immediately as well, is I'm gonna be upset. But in the next one, they had Millie Bobby Brown doing things and things like that, but they had an equal number of the humans that some people don't care about, and the giant monsters slapping the shit out of each other in this WWE style match, which they came here to see. Now, it's always good to have a balance because I need to have the people doing things as well, as long as they're being smart about it and not idiots. Looking at you, King of Monsters, where you actively had Millie Bobby Brown and friends doing nothing important and failing the entire time, yet somehow still succeeding. Like they broke into
nothing.
They broke into 3 government facilities just by walking through the door.
And that's not breaking in, that's just being welcomed.
Pretty much. But it's like that's not what I came here to see. But when you look at the Kong style ones, it's them trying to find Kong a new home, help him out, and have him make an emotional connection with the little girl in the family. And it's like that's good. Now, sure, it's hard to have an emotional connection with Godzilla when his brain is on elbow drop mode.
I can have an emotional connection to that. Sometimes you gotta elbow drop a motherfucker.
Yeah, but frankly, we didn't need to follow that because Godzilla didn't do anything but go from place to place trying to figure out where Mecha Godzilla is.
Yeah.
So we didn't need to follow the people following Godzilla. We needed to follow the people hanging out with Kong as he was the protagonist in this movie.
And did we?
No. Well, yes, but no.
Because I'm gonna be honest, I remember that while going over the timestamps for the things that you wanted me to look at, the new Kong versus Godzilla, reasonably by name, a lot of King Kong and Godzilla, and not a lot of people going on. I'm just like, they're just punching each other, but slowly.
And that's what a lot of people go to see. But also, you still have to have the human interactions with the giant monsters. And having them interact with Big Monkey was good for me.
To not dehumanize a group of athletes, I feel like this is honestly applicable to mixed martial arts in a lot of ways. There are some people that watch mixed martial arts events just to watch people punch each other in the face.
Mm-hmm.
But for me and many other audience members, it's much more entertaining when we have a story around the fights. Like, recently, well, we'll go with the fight that's literally tomorrow. Who cares if I date the video? Tomorrow night, Kamaru Usman is going to be fighting Leon Edwards again after a not close fight whatsoever. Kamaru was winning that fight by a landslide. And then Leon landed a head kick in nearly the end of the 5th round. It was over halfway done. I think it was like 2 minutes left of the 5th round. Out of 5 minutes, if you only watch boxing. And so, it went from this, there was not a lot of build up to the last one because it's just like, Kamaru has already beaten Edwards once because they fought early off in their careers, and legitimately no one thought Edwards had a chance. Honestly, reasonably, Kamaru is one of the most dominant fighters in the world right now. And so, now that he beat Kamaru, there's a lot more, story behind it. There's a lot more, at stake, it feels like. Because you're going into a fight where it doesn't feel like a decision has already been made. It is can Kamaru do what he did for the, 4 rounds? So, the 23 out of 25 minutes he needed to. Can he do that again, but this time go the full 25 minutes against him? Or is Leon Edwards going to show, no, I am better than Kamaru, who some people still believe to be the best fighter in the world? And you see, that's a lot more entertaining sounding than just, 2 people are fighting, Kamaru's probably going to win. Because I feel like I could have said that about King Kong versus Godzilla. 2 monsters are going to fight, but Godzilla's probably going to win.
I said that. Godzilla's definitely going to beat the shit out of King Kong.
Yeah, you did.
Even though he's
to me.
There's no thumbs.
You don't need
I feel like the only
saying.
people who thought King Kong was gonna beat Godzilla were Harambe fans.
That's a lot of people.
I'm a really big
You say that as though it's not a lot of people.
No,
I love King Kong. King Kong is my boy.
Look, King Kong's great, but Monkey didn't stand a chance.
Everybody
he
has their
doesn't stand a
horse.
chance. He is literally the king of monsters. But regardless, I root for the underdog.
Everybody has their horse. That's the part that I pretty much enjoyed that entire year. Ever since the movie was announced, there were people just online, whether it be serious discussions or more just memes glorifying
The
one
memes
contestant
were
over the
fire.
other. There's a lot of, if I may bring up my own 2 cents, one of the spectacles that comes with this in Giant Monsters is something that Maurice already talked about when it came to his adolescence. He owned the toys. would be a disservice for us not to mention the sort of impact that this particular kind of entertainment has on the toy industry and the psychological relationship that many youngsters over these last, oh my god, it's been almost 80 years, 70 plus years have had growing up with these toys of these iconic gigantic monsters, and sort of the harkening back to childhood idea of, I got one action figure in my left, another one in my right, smacky smacky smack. That's how I keep myself entertained. This is entertainment, as rudimentary as it may be.
Kind of the same reason people watch sports. They do it for the spectacle for the most part.
To be fair, legitimately, there are a lot of efforts put in to make stories for sports at this point. Like, they are creating narratives. Like, look at the NFL this year. In the AFC Championship, there was a whole lot of talk around the fact that Joe Burrow had never lost an Arrowhead to the Chiefs. To the point that the mayor of Cincinnati, literally called it Burrowhead.
Yeah, that's based.
Yeah, they lost that game, and what did he get called? Jason Kelsey called the mayor a jabroni.
A jabroni star.
If I'm not mistaken, we've also seen it before when it came to this most recent Super Bowl, because I'm pretty sure on both was it the Chiefs and the Eagles?
Ooh.
Kaiser?
It was Kansas City.
Yeah, it was the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles who were playing.
Apparently, there were a set of brothers who were on both teams.
Yes, Jason and oh my God, why am I forgetting one of those names? I literally Travis. Jason and Travis Kelsey.
Ah, yes. Jason Derulo and Travis Scott.
But yeah, they're the center for the Eagles and the the offensive tight end for the Chiefs. Right. Both of whom play like extremely pivotal roles for their team. Like Travis Kelsey, who is the one that called the mayor jabroni, not Jason, is the tight end and is like essentially referred to as the go-to for. Oh God, why can't I remember his name? There are too many names today. I was supposed to just ask questions.
Godzilla.
What is his name? The quarterback for the Chiefs. Everyone knows him.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you do.
Apparently not.
If I say his name, you'll.
You don't lie to yourself.
Don't worry.
Why can't I remember your name?
We'll get there. We'll get there when we get there.
Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Still don't know who that is.
Fortunately, I do.
Nothing.
But yeah, he basically the go-to guy, the person who, you know, essentially like Brady and Gronkowski, leaders of one of the most effective offenses in the NFL, not just remaining because there were only 2 offenses remaining. And then Jason, as the center for the Eagles, was, you know, in charge of protecting Jalen Hurts, and also, like, as much as the Eagles' successes with their hyper-aggressive offense could be attributed to Jalen Hurts and his extremely athletic style of quarterback, you're not getting, what is it, like, they had like a 94% efficacy of quarterback sneaks. You're not getting that just because of the fact that you have a fast and agile quarterback. You're getting that because Jason Kelsey is legitimately the greatest center in the game right now for that type of play. He fucking buries people in those short drives. It's honestly really impressive. But yeah, that was a major story that got pushed by the NFL. That it was the Kelsey Bowl. Because that's how you get more viewers.
More viewers.
Greed is good.
So, any more questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have written down here. With the fact that some people do, Godzilla, titular character, want him to be more in thing. Is there a upper limit to that, do you think? Or do y'all think that there is a point where you could, in fact, just have giant monsters and that's all that you needed for the movie? And additionally, with that question, what kind of story would you even have at that point?
So I haven't fully read it, but there is comics of Godzilla, and one of them is called Godzilla in Hell, where, if I remember what I saw correctly, it's literally Godzilla just rampaging through hell, beating up a bunch of his old foes.
Interesting question about that, then. Did they give Godzilla or the monsters more human characteristics, such as, speaking and acting in that sort of way? Or is it just panels and panels of him walking around and beating people up?
I believe it may have just been panels and panels of him walking around just beating people up. Again, I didn't read it because I didn't have the money at the time, but it was literally just 5 issues of Godzilla in Hell beating shit up.
Okay.
I would have to go back and read it to see if there was human involvement, but from everything I saw, it was pretty much just Godzilla.
I let me rephrase that question, because I didn't actually want to know if it was human involvement. I wanted to know if they gave Godzilla human-esque characteristics.
No, he never gets to talk or anything.
Yeah. Because that almost becomes something entirely different if it is, giant monsters, but also they're acting more human. They're having peace talks and political discussions and strategy meetings.
There is a Godzilla movie slightly like that, but I'll be right back. Y'all talk amongst yourself.
Sure. To piggyback on this conversation, one thing that I have noticed over the course of most gigantic monster movies is a very intentional separation of creating a what I'll call dynamic personality. Obviously, many of these monsters will acquire very personable traits. We see it in one of Godzilla's most iconic monsters, King Ghidorah, that there are 3 emotionally distinctive heads from each other, and they'll sometimes bicker and argue, but they all genuinely hate Godzilla. Godzilla itself and Gamera, as mentioned earlier, the giant turtle, both have particular personalities defined by their relationship with the other humans, but never full dynamic characters of themselves, will though be carrying emotional arcs and things of that nature.
Well, that's kind of why I was wondering, because, I just don't feel like that's enough to carry a story is the issue. And, when, to bring it back to the UFC example of comparison, you're not getting any story from the early prelims. Unless you are doing additional research or if there is a major up-and-comer, you don't know what Joe Schmo 1 and Joe Schmo 2 are all about on the prelims.
Yeah, who knows these guys?
Randos. The thing that I like about that, though, is, you never know where the next champion is gonna come from. They might come from things like The Ultimate Fighter, that might come from Dana White's Contender Series. They might come from a regional fight scene that they're now in the UFC, and by watching the early prelims, you might get to see the start of their rise, which I find very entertaining, and that's what I look for in the prelims and such. And I don't think you get that from, giant monster fight.
That's what you think.
The other thing is, yeah, they do have personalities in a way, but, they have personalities in the same way that my dog has a personality.
Your dog is great.
My dog is great. I don't want to sit and watch my dog for 2 hours. Like,
I mean,
I disagree. 'Cause
that's your loss.
allow me to clarify a point. I will happily sit with my dog for 2 hours. She's great. I love her. I'm not gonna sit there and exclusively stare at her for 2 hours. Especially if she's not gonna interact with me. That'll make me sad.
I was about to say, Now, if she was fighting other dogs,
That wouldn't be a good show for me. My dog is,
that'd be
how to put
sad.
this? Marcia
That'd be very
is slightly pudgy and not a violent dog by any like way, shape, or form in any way whatsoever. And so if she got in a fight, I would be incredibly worried as a dad.
I think I've also seen that dog movie. It was sad.
I would have to fight other dogs if Marcia got in a dog fight. And I don't want to have that on my conscience.
But yes. Question.
I do have another one, but mine can wait if you have one, Tomas.
yes, because it's actually built off of a fundamental difference between even our lovely IRL sports entertainment actors and a giant monster is kind of the inception of their function. Godzilla being one of the first was, as Maurice mentioned, built off of a metaphor that the late and great, let me make sure I remember how to pronounce his name correctly, Tomoyuki Tanaka made out of commentary on the atomic bomb post Japan
And
Two.
war in general.
and war in general. And so, not all of the monsters, but definitely some of our most iconic in this genre of thing, they're the walking metaphor, big visual representation of possibly some societal thing that we can't really put a face to in real life. Maurice, my question to you then comes from, do modern kaiju movies keep that subtle metaphor?
No.
And that was the thing that was actually my question too, but in the same way, different. Because
They do keep... Oh, go on.
I was gonna say is they don't keep to that. Nothing about the new Godzilla movies is truly what the narrative point of the original Godzilla was, which is, look at the horrors that we have caused. This is what we are moving towards, an end and a power that we have absolutely no ability to control or stop.
Yeah.
And that is not what, Pacific Rim is. That is not what King Kong versus Godzilla is. That is not what the new Godzilla is. And my question was going to be, do you think we have strayed too far from that original message, or do you prefer the distance that it now has from that?
See, the thing is, it has strayed far from that original message after the third one.
Right. That was the one that came out in the 60s, right? Where he started becoming a little more heroic and being a protector of Japan.
Like, he went from being, a message to more of a superhero / icon. Godzilla is pretty much a Superman at this point.
Right. A symbol of Japanese nationalism.
And even if the movie has some be either a freak of nature of destruction or the heroes to come save us from the aliens, which happens quite often in Godzilla movies, we've already strayed from it. And frankly, I'm glad we strayed from it, because as good as, the message behind the first movie was, you can only kind of do that the one time.
Okay.
I don't agree with that.
I do have a more modified.
I don't think they can just make Godzilla the same message in the next 62 movies that came out.
Well,
I
maybe
do have a
Godzilla
more
didn't need
modified
to have
version of the
62
question then.
movies.
Well, maybe.
That's
Look,
you're arguing with the franchise.
Perhaps
baby.
allow me to present to you an argument.
maybe Lord of the Rings didn't need 3 movies.
It did though. Also, if you ask the
That stopped at the
creator,
first one.
if you ask the creator, it didn't need to be 3 books. He wanted it to be 1 book, The Mad Lad.
Yep.
One big old book.
And also here is the argument.
Mm-hmm.
The Godzilla movies, have they not fallen into the same trap that annoys me that happened with the Final Fantasy series?
I don't know what Final Fantasy has done to annoy you.
I'm
Yeah,
very
I don't know.
annoyed by the name Final Fantasy. Because
That's
I'm getting into it.
oh, God.
Yeah.
Patience, my friend, patience. We have a runtime to reach.
Alright.
You're attacking two friends at the same time. We're gonna reach the
Great.
run
I've
time.
already told you
There's
this.
18 more fantasies.
Here's the thing. Almost, because there are some that are, almost none of the Final Fantasies are related in any way, shape, or form. They are just called Final Fantasy, and they are produced by the same company. Their stories are not interconnected. They're not interwoven. If they are connected, it's because there's a multiverse. That doesn't count. Especially if they don't ever traverse the multiverse. And even if they did, it really doesn't. Like, it basically is just a branding name that they throw on something in order to sell more of a game. It's just, we've made an RPG with this company. Better call it a Final Fantasy. Good to go. Moving on. And that kind of feels like what they've done with Godzilla. Godzilla is recognizable as a name, and therefore, when someone wants to make a big monster fight, it is easier for them to slap the same name on it, and in this case, make the monster look the same.
See, the weird thing is this. No, because Godzilla actually has a storyline.
All of the Godzillas are connected.
Actually, yes, depending on the era. Each Godzilla movie does follow the last one.
In the same era.
Yes.
So that brings in the question: why not go to a new a new monster?
We did.
Why are we using the same lizard every time?
Oh no, the original Godzilla died a long time ago. We're following Godzilla 2, his son.
Crazy.
The lore is weird.
And this
I
is not
picked up on that.
Godzuki, the other child. This is Godzilla Jr. But
These sound like fake words.
No, these are all real things that happen.
Fake
We're not following Godzuki or Godzilla.
Different child.
This is not Godzilla.
We're not following Gothra either, the illegitimate child of Mothra and Godzilla.
This is
It's just Godzilla's son who he asexually I don't know. Is Godzilla a boy or a girl at this point? I've gotten confused.
Normally a boy. Normally a boy.
Normally use masculine pronouns to refer to.
I guess this is the fight pit.
I forgot you're playing a game.
He's in my.
I'm sorry. I this is what happened.
I thought you were referring to us getting into the fight pit because we misgendered Godzilla.
No.
Hey, I want to say, don't do it.
So
I'm not trying to. I don't know.
Oh,
basically, to give context to what I was saying, I got lost out in the wilds trying to cross an ocean, and I went, let me burrow into the ground for the night so I could dodge the monsters. And instead of putting rock,
actually employing gopher tactics to survive.
yeah, instead of putting rock over my head, I put sand, and I had zombies and a creeper following me.
Well, why don't you pound sand?
So, I accidentally put sand above my head, which fell on me and started doing damage. And when I knocked the sand off of me so it could stop doing damage, the creeper dropped down into the hole and blew up. But I survived it because I was wearing armor, and it just turned into a fight pit because all the zombies dove in afterwards.
Get him! Rattle them, boys!
Rattle them, boys!
And nobody made it out except for me.
Absolutely not.
Anyways, but yes, unlike the Final Fantasy where they each are their own separate contained story, which do have similar elements, like every Final Fantasy game has to have a Cid and Chocobo.
That
they all have
count.
crystals.
Oh wow, crystals. That's an original concept.
Always
and the same gods.
Ongoing conflict between the light and the dark, and whether or not you're following the warriors of light and dark. Blah 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 blah. The nuance.
Yes, the most bare minimum things they could pull over exist in them. You also play a protagonist.
Your point does still stand. For Maurice's point, there are actually different director-produced eras of the Godzilla movie, because it's been almost 70 years since this franchise has been around. Obviously, no one or even one group of people would have been in charge of this forever. But many of those movies, depending on what era we're talking about, and depending on what company is producing these products, the movie products, not the merchandising, yeah, there is actually a story to follow. Were you talking to Mar?
I
Because
think all the dogs are going crazy. That's the only reason he would yell at them like that
good
from the
God,
basement.
right?
Scared.
Yeah,
I thought-
they're all upstairs, so they probably heard like a normal, "Hey, y'all be good." We're over here like, "Oh, sorry, sir."
I thought I thought combat started. I was like, oh my God, who's trying to break into Kaiser's house? Show me again. Oh my God. Now
Kaiser can
I believe it. There's actually a couple of questions I didn't ask yet. This one's a bit of a the two sets of polar opposites. We have already talked extensively about how these monster movies, and more importantly, need some level of human characters to facilitate not only some plot stuff driven by human intervention or human observation, but also just for the sake of sometimes having the big monster be our protagonist or be our antagonist. Those where my questions lie. What strength do you find in having the big monster be the antagonist in a given piece of media?
Like antagonist to another big monster, or just antagonist in general?
An antagonist in general to fill in that role of the.
It depends on which story you're really going for, but like you can do it in many different ways. So having a giant monster be the thing that you have to beat turns it into the best way I could put it, into a very good I don't want to call it a thought experiment, but like how they had Godzilla Earth. He was the antagonist in the Godzilla Netflix trilogy.
Yes.
And the whole point was a man is Eren Yeagering against the Godzilla.
Also, I would like to take this moment to apologize. I did in fact mute myself for the stream, but I forgot that I did not hit my button that mutes me in the stream and on Discord at the same time.
So only we got to hear the scream.
Yes. Which is why I'm
You're
apologizing to y'all.
Cool.
I have now added a...
Fortunately for all of you, YouTube and the
There goes Thomas.
good guys there.
I added a noise gate, which should hopefully prevent the dogs from being heard, because it worked last time. I'm now just hopeful that my sound quality has not gone down for me.
Yeah. We haven't heard one of the dogs yet, which is the fun part.
Yeah, on Discord.
I actually did hear.
I don't understand why, even though it wasn't being picked up by my microphone, by my compensator, by anything else involved, but it was being picked up by OBS. I don't understand how that works.
OBS
Yes.
be on it.
But
Well, again, that's the thing. I don't know how OBS is getting it, but my microphone isn't. That don't make no sense to me.
make no sense.
Great.
But Thomas, yeah. So you can have it as like the military go up against the giant monster to beat it, or you could take the different approach where the antagonist is a horror movie monster, aka Cloverfield.
Okay.
Because that was all spooky, scary giant monster doing things.
While this is stretching a little bit of what we're talking about, this is one of the areas where I really liked the movie Nope, the most recent Jordan Peele horror film. For appropriate context, because I'm pretty sure only Shy and I have seen it. It's an alien.
Mhm.
It legitimately runs around in its base UFO form, kidnapping all sorts of cattle and torturing. I say torturing, but more so lightly harassing all of these random farmers that are our main characters. And only until the threat escalates and they try to not only take I believe the goal was to like take a clear vision of it so they could originally sell it for profit. once they started looking at it, and it saw that we were looking at it, oh, it got angry.
Mm-hmm.
It got very angry and then transformed into its very robust 3D animated angelic like form, and I'm like, this is fucking cool.
This is an Elden Ring boss, yeah.
This is an Elden Ring boss. This ties earlier with the subject that I brought up before about metaphors and how these monsters handle metaphors, as Nope itself is also a movie about animal cruelty and specifically a lot of our human-based relationships with other animals. There was a core theming of not only, of course, our main characters or most of our relevant characters being both farmers and or ranch owners of a more like a theme park sense for one particular character that dies horrifically, as well as a nice underplot of a chimp and some of our very human and very real historical history of employing actual live chimps to our live studio on its productions, much to the success that you would imagine when you throw in wild animal in non-wild animal situation, and then are surprised when wild animals. So in that case, our Nope alien being an antagonist does a lot for this movie to really highlight like one of the most dangerous things that are still in our modern society is a problem that we ourselves have caused. This then brings me to the other side of it. We've already talked a little bit about how only protects the children because I don't know, sus, and how of course Godzilla only technically protects Japan, which is why every time in these more modern Godzilla
times he destroys Japan.
But yeah, it's a 50-50 for the Japanese people. That's why they're
I don't know if it's quite 50-50 yet.
That's why they're kind of like they cross their fingers, because literally in the more modern Godzilla movies, Godzilla comes here and there's no negotiation.
See, look, here's the thing.
We don't negotiate with terrorists over here.
Look, Godzilla doesn't protect Japan. It's not really Japan's protector. That's where the threat is.
Hey.
If the monster didn't go there, Godzilla would just chase it to wherever it is and suplex it.
True.
Well, my headcanon for Godzilla, because of the way he acts, is I thought he was like a mob boss and he was shaking down Japan. Like, I live right outside your waters. I'm going to rough you up to remind you there are giant monsters out there, and I'll protect you from other giant monsters. Like,
the protection money?
Yeah,
okay.
you
Godzilla in one of those like fedoras with a Tommy gun.
Yes.
Look,
where's my money?
You should draw it.
Where's
draw
my
Godzilla
money?
with a fedora and a Tommy gun.
I'm swimming here. Hey.
You can make
so
that.
yeah,
You can make
Godzilla
that
is just shaking down Japan and using them for not just for fights.
He's using them.
But also, he likes to go on land and harass people.
Let me tell you something, Hiro Tanaka.
Oh my god.
This here is my waters. Now I'm going to protect you in case any flying rats come by to steal our cheese. But that cheese is mine. You hear me?
Oh my god.
My question.
No, I'm God.
That question is now on the opposite side. What strengths do you happen to find when the big monster is our protagonist? Maybe even our hero, depending on the actions that happen in the movie.
For that, that one's more of a superhero type situation for me, where the giant monster is on your side, because it still is the relationship between the giant monster and the people that's protecting. Because look at the Iron Giant, Kaiju.
Right. I go, you stay. Love Superman, unironically.
It was just a big old creature learning, involving.
King Kong and Skull Island protected the island from what were they called, Shy? The Skull Crushers? The Skull
Crawlers.
Skull Crawlers, thank you.
Yep.
You're talking the more modern one?
Yeah. It was the Skull Crawlers.
I think it was Skull Crawlers.
Yep. King Kong is the protector. That's why in King Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus King Kong, King Kong is technically the protagonist. So does he lose? Of course he loses. It was literally the king. But
Hail to the king.
He lost in the last one as well.
Straight up fired a beam. Was King Kong. Yeah, King Kong was below ground.
he was in
Fired
the
him.
center of the earth.
King Kong was just like, is that a beam of light from Godzilla all the way up on the surface? Yes. Yes, it was.
Indubitably.
Like King Kong had to get a weapon made out of Godzilla to beat up Godzilla.
Right, they
Yeah.
did do that, didn't they?
Yup.
They did.
Like
They
that
did some
tells
weird
you
things in that movie.
just how out of it, like just how much out of his element he was.
Man,
Okay.
I would love to know how many drugs these people are doing when they're coming up with these scripts.
Yes.
When you have that kind
Does
of
it have
money,
to be
why wouldn't
drugs?
you?
Why couldn't
Yes.
it just be the free-flowing imagination
It's
of
not.
a wonderful human being?
No, Kaiju. See, they do improv. They just do and yes,
And
or yes and.
Yes,
Maybe.
yes, and yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
but yeah, having the giant monster be the protagonist can hold a lot of good stories, but it's mostly more of a teaching moment to be like, we can get along with nature, even when nature's this gigantic lizard who's like, stop waking me the fuck up.
I mean, honestly,
I'm
I would
trying
like.
to sleep.
I would literally rather get along with Godzilla than not get Godzilla. If you gave me the choice, if there was a button that said befriend or behead or be beheaded, that befriend button's looking mighty tantalizing right now.
Like the new Godzilla for the, what's it called? What is this era? Millennium?
This current era is called.
I think it's Millennium era.
It might, yeah. Well, actually, hold on. Are you sure it's not the Legendary Pictures
Wait,
era? Unless
the
all these eras
eras
are not
of-
labeled.
Yeah, it might be
Godzilla.
Legendary era.
The eras of Godzilla, are they named similar to like the Kamen Rider eras? Like they have the Heisei and the Showa era.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
exactly
it's
the same.
based off of the
It's-
current emperor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Showa, Heisei, Millennium, then the American versions, which is the
Yep. Star Pictures
Monsterverse.
and Legendary Pictures.
Yes, they call it the Monsterverse.
I can
era.
tell it's the American ones because it says here on the Wikipedia the Reiwa era was Mansai Nomura and then TriStar Pictures, Kurt Carley, and I was like, oh, we're definitely not in Japan anymore.
But yeah, this new Godzilla is more or less. He's not here to destroy the world. He literally stays in the ocean until another monster shows up, and he's like, "Well, I don't care what gets in my way. I'm gonna beat it up."
Thanks, Gozira.
He kind of has a 9 to 5.
And then once it's defeated, he goes back
Back
in
to
the
the
ocean.
water.
He goes back home.
He doesn't
There
even
must be
apologize for
something in
destroying
the
the
water.
land. You shouldn't
Yeah,
have put
this
it
is-
in my way.
Godzilla is just like the worst kind of person for foreign policy.
Mhm.
Or the best.
See, that's why
depending
you
on who
discuss.
ask.
Look, you just
Sure.
gotta build around Godzilla. Stop making your cities like this. Give him a path.
As if Godzilla will follow it.
He will. He comes through a certain way. Give him a path.
Yeah, it's the same way every single time.
Godzilla has a preferred walking trail.
Lure the monster to a desolate island, and hopefully, Godzilla will follow us there. Hopefully, the monster doesn't go, yeah, but I want to beat up New York. You're not giant
I
monster.
mean, listen. Not our fault that New York looks tantalizing and so easily destructible.
It's so shiny.
Right.
But
We had damn lights blaring 24/7. It's pretty much like flag signals to say, "Hey, land here."
but what's the next question?
Did you
That's,
guys know that the
Rod.
bots in the shooting range of Overwatch will wave back to you?
Yes.
I
It's very
didn't know
cute.
that, and now I feel bad about shooting them.
Roz, Shy, got
Hello.
anything for our lovely King of the Monster trivia?
Trying to think. I don't know it nearly as much as Ari's here.
I've
Sure.
seen so many monster movies in my 30 plus years of life.
What helps to keep them fresh? How have you not gotten bored of them?
The variety. Like WWE superstars, there's so many of them.
Mm.
But then you can always just go back to good old Triple H.
Do you consider Starship Troopers a kaiju movie?
As a kid, I did, and it just does not change in my head. These are big, and I mean these are little too big, giant bugs.
True.
Isn't
kinda
anything like above a foot too big of a bug?
Well,
Also
see,
true.
like here's the thing: if
But
it's supposed to be
it's
that
also bigger
size,
than
not a
bigger than
kaiju.
humans. Like I would.
Well, I
This is
mean
where
that race of
Murray
beings
talked about
is
it
supposed to be
before.
that size. Actually, hold on.
Right. This is what we talked about it before we started recording. Jurassic Park is technically a kaiju movie because them dinosaurs, them big. They
And they're
bigger.
genetically engineered
I was gonna say,
monsters
those
because
ones
those
are
are not what
genetically
dinosaurs look
engineered.
like.
Yeah,
But they're still
I mean,
kaijus.
yeah, I would say isn't just the very first the clever girl? Isn't she just a box standard T-Rex?
No, Clever Girl's a
She's not the
velociraptor.
Clever
yeah,
Girl's a
she's a
velociraptor.
Thank
velociraptor.
you. But isn't
But
yeah, I was saying, isn't the main villain of the first Jurassic movie just a box standard T-Rex?
No, the main villain is the velociraptors.
I mean the main villain to the kids, the velociraptors. The main villains are those white guys.
True. That one is also that
They
also
just wanted
surpasses
to
my
make a
title.
theme park.
Not those white
Yes.
guys, the other white guys.
You know what to say.
I don't.
There's a lot of white guys.
Also, you know, you
Welcome
don't
to
just
the
make
world.
a theme,
There's a lot of white guys.
you
Doing a
also
lot of
don't make
white
a
guy
theme park where
things.
you try to resurrect the apex predators before us apex predators came about. That's just That's just
No.
inviting your own competition.
No. Here's the thing that you should never do. You shouldn't lie to me. You can't tell me Jurassic Park. It's like no one cares about dinosaurs. You're a fucking liar. I went to a zoo.
Yeah, that was a weird thing for the new ones. Nobody was interested in seeing normal dinosaurs, so we're making mutant mixtures of dinosaurs. And they're like, what?
What? You could have literally brought back all the herbivores and it will still make millions, billions. You brought back
Billions.
dinosaurs. You could brought back only the peaceful ones. I would have still went to go touch a peaceful dinosaur.
I really hope that if they actually ever do get the technology to bring back dinosaurs, that at least one of the people on the, like, whatever board is deciding which dinosaurs get to come back, that there's just one person saying, like, nah, I've seen Jurassic Park, none of those ones. Velociraptors denied. T-Rex denied.
What about these little ones? Those spit acid. Denied.
We could genetically engineer them to not shoot acid. I'm
Denied.
sorry. Have you ever heard of evolution? We ain't
They
risking
spit
it.
acid for a reason.
Listen, dog, I'm
yes.
gonna be honest with you. I ain't gonna be the one that fucking agrees to a dinosaur, and then once the outbreak happens, and some fucking chuckle fuck on the internet goes, oh, didn't they ever watch Yes, I watched Jurassic Park religiously. All 18 of the movies. Because this is somewhere in the future. There's gonna be more.
Yes.
True.
And also, besides the variety, I just like the different ways people can use kaijus. Like, personally, one of my favorite ones is kind of trash, but I enjoyed it so much. And it's the one with Godzilla Earth. That Netflix series may have been stupid, but goddamn it just shows how menacing Godzilla can be.
True.
I haven't seen that one.
It's so fun because it's just a bunch of people and aliens who all have to team up, and it's like, all right, we're gonna beat Godzilla after we return home after 20,000 years of hyper travel. It was like, okay, we're leaving. We can't find a good planet. We're going back. He should be dead by now, right? And no, Godzilla's still walking around. All right, let's kill him.
He's just on Earth wrong.
Mm-hmm. B, you don't care for spoilers, right?
You can go ahead. I probably won't watch it.
All right. So after they do succeed in killing this literally overpowered Godzilla, because he comes with an electromagnetic shield.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
He was already invisible.
Yeah, they blow him up. He dies. They're like, yeah, we did it. And the explosion wakes up the real Godzilla. That was just an infant.
Oh no.
The real Godzilla is over 100 meters tall and pissed off because something woke it up.
Who?
And the first thing
only
it
who
does.
killed my baby? Who woke me up telling me my baby's dead?
No, here's the crazy part. It's not a baby. So in this one, Godzilla is a plant monster. And it literally just grew another Godzilla while he was napping.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Aaron with that
now.
one Titan thing with the biblical cord.
And it's just funny as hell to me. It's like, yeah, we did it, woo!
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I did see the Pacific Rim Netflix.
Oh yeah, I tried to finish that one. I got through like the first season, but then I was like, Yo, these kids
They're
gotta
annoying.
stop.
But it's
Sure.
more
Like-
story than the actual Pacific Rim.
Y'all killed your
What do you
whole
mean? There's
village.
a lot of story going on in the original Pacific Rim.
I have literally no idea what happened in the actual movie.
I have no idea.
Listen, there's more story going on in Pacific Rim than most kaiju movies in my experience.
Heard
I have-
Donut Kaiser.
I have literally no idea what's happening in that movie.
I can explain to
All
you.
right,
like,
so in the
hyper
beginning,
quick.
the guy loses his
Okay.
brother in a kaiju fight.
No, I know all the things.
Then he
Okay, but
retires from kaiju
not-
fighting, but then the government needs his help, and so they ask him for one more mission.
I just can't understand a lot of like the things that happen in the movie on just like
Did you
Like a
actually
technical level?
put it in Chinese?
no, because they're just doing stupid things. Like these kaijus are actively breaking through the walls, and yet they're like, nah, we're gonna shut down the program.
Welcome to politics.
And it's just
Look,
like,
So,
we
yeah,
don't
that's
need the
also-
program no more.
Yeah.
We're just gonna build
No,
a
that's-
wall.
That is again, the nuance is not lost on you. The Pacific Rim, as a particular example, is an example of trying to look at how the government would respond to national and technically world-ending threats by sometimes just ignoring it at the
I mean, we did
At
just
the,
go through a time period where we got to see that it is in fact how they react.
That's right. At the detriment to everyone involved. The
Damn,
That's
art
fair.
imitate
Or-
life, am I right?
right, the people who are supposed to protect us and offer infrastructure will instead often take that away for the means of self-preservation. And without dealing with the very threat that caused them to hide in the first place. Or the opposite side, where sometimes the gigantic monster is friendly in some of these other stories, and the government overreacts and tries to exercise some level of control over it, whether it be to destroy it immediately or to enlist it into its services as like a part of the nation.
and I haven't seen Pacific Rim 2, so I can't comment on that one.
I haven't seen
Good
Pacific
for
Rim 2
you.
either.
Good for
There's-
you.
There's actually it's a situation that's very similar to what we're talking about right now, and it technically is a kaiju, even though it comes from space.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, in a particular episode of Doctor Who, and I believe it's the 11th Doctor, a few
Mhm.
episodes into his tenure, they end up dealing with a world that was built on a back. Actually, it's the human population. It's like somewhere in the future where humans have fucked the environment to the point where we had to go off world. And there was this giant space whale that came down because it heard the cries of the children. And it lifted up everybody in the area and basically allowed them to live essentially inside of it on its back.
Oh my.
And they've built this city and this giant empire and everything on top of this whale. And the people thought, if the whale ever decides that it's sick of us, it can end us at any moment. So what we're going to do is enslave it. We're going to basically
Yeah.
lobotomize it,
Ah,
and
Yeah.
we'll control it and be in control of the whale.
that
So-
sounds all right.
So the crazy part about that story was it was about the queen of that world, and she had been the queen for the entirety of the whale's existence. And at this point, it had been like some odd 900 years since the whale thing happened, because they learned some type of technology to keep only certain people alive for long periods of time. And how they get around, like, oh, she's the 13th queen or whatever. They have mind erasing technology too. So they just wipe her mind because she's stuck in this basic mental loop of figuring out this shadowy thing that's controlling the society in the background. And the secret all leads back to the whale being alive, and they're literally torturing it to death to keep it. They're keeping it under their control. And the end of the story is her having to choose either A, let your people possibly die by releasing the whale from your control, or B, keep torturing the whale and erase your memory so that you forget all about this and you just move on without the guilt.
Yep.
Bye bye memories.
Every single time.
So every version of the queen, every number after the queen is every attempt she's made to make the choice, and she always chose to erase her memory and reset everything. And of course, in this episode of Doctor Who, they end the whale suffering.
Did the
Thanks,
whale
Doctor, you
immediately
destroyed us
throw them?
all.
Did the whale have enough wherewithal to legitimately throw them all over?
No, the whale never released them because they came to find out that the reason the whale came to save them was because the whale was lonely. It had been soaring the space forever, and it was alone, and it wanted something to keep it company, and it saw the children and the adults by extension as its kids and was not going to throw them away.
Always the children first.
It is a classic case of emotional abuse. Yay! I'm glad we got to free the emotionally vulnerable creature. It's honestly quite sad, but it is one of those many kinds of interactions. After all, the monsters we talked about lack a human personality, and sometimes that is leveraged. I won't say it's always by design, but it's leveraged to basically make it the representation of nature, as in the case of like one of those Godzilla films that Mari's talked about, in the case of just gigantic animal, in the case of my Nope movie from Jordan Peele. And sometimes the case of what I liked from Attack on Titan, which counts for a little bit of our conversation, they're just super weapons. It's just nuclear power without the with people still get burnt to a crisp just being near one. So they're just walking nuclear bombs.
But into the power of teenagers.
Into the power of teenagers. But of course, the real thing is that this is supposed to be national conflict between one nation and a smaller nation with a huge, long-standing history of control and abuse back when either of these nations had any sort of power over the other, and it was a smaller scale representation of real world, wider scale conflict that Isayama was trying to tell with the Attack on Titan story. The idea that as long as there's going to be disagreements between us humans, we're going to be in conflict, and we're going to use whatever means that are possible, including but not limited to these gigantic super weapons, until there are one or few humans left. Not the direct quote, but the general paraphrase. Now, of course, the only reason why this entire narrative or all of this metaphor formed in the, I'm gonna be real with you, it's just more entertaining to see gigantic lizard than see a fat man in a movie on a movie screen. I got to admit, the concept of giant monster is appealing just because it is gigantic creature, similar to how people like fantasy for dragons or various fantastical races that appear in there. There's a very aesthetical pleasure to these kinds of things. Whoa.
Questions.
I
Ross.
believe I have asked all of mine.
Yes. Ross, do you have a question? I'm pretty sure you are the only one who has not asked.
I did not have any questions.
But Ross, I asked people to prepare questions.
And I already knew I wasn't gonna have any.
Well, you quit on me.
I've prepared, not preparing.
Remember, Roz is not that type of student. Roz is not the one to write in his notebooks. He does not take notes.
What do you mean assignment?
I mean, it
What
was.
do you mean homework?
What do you mean there was homework?
All right.
I either pass or I don't. There is no in between.
Well, you didn't.
Thank you.
You didn't even show up for the test.
Because I already knew you were gonna ask whatever I was already gonna ask.
That's
Thomas was gonna come in with the follow-up, and then I can play off of whatever comes, like my brilliant story about the whale. So
wow, Choji,
I'm still contributing.
Shikamaru do all the work
I'm still
again.
contributing.
I mean, you guys are the same ones who always say, Work smarter, not harder.
That's
When have
what
I ever
Robin
said that?
That's what Beast Boy from Teen Titans said to read it.
But no, seriously, when the fuck have I ever said that?
I've said that. I live by that.
At this point, I don't know who says it. I've just heard it 1,000 times.
I don't know that you said it, but it is said.
Also, I have personally. So you may or may not have heard it. If not, you may be remembering from Teen Titans. And I got it backwards. Robin said it to Beast Boy. And then Beast Boy said it to his Doom Patrol mates. And his Doom Patrol mates were like, you got good friends.
That saying you used. I like it.
That's right.
But yeah, so
I don't like that saying though.
Work smarter, not harder?
Yeah.
What do you don't like about it?
Why not do both?
Harder.
Because
why not work hard and work smart? There's no reason for the two to be separate. Or desperate.
Sometimes efficiency.
I'm lazy.
Because efficiency.
Well, that's the issue. Is that it gets used by people as an excuse to be lazy.
This man wants me to pick up the forklifts and the pallets.
I'm a.
Then you're telling us that you don't actually have a problem.
I'm not telling you to pick up the forklift and the pallets. I'm telling you to use the forklift to pick up more than one pallet in a shift.
Wait, what's it?
Wait.
In a shift?
Hold. First off, for the nuance of this particular
as the only person with a forklift certification,
the mere idea that using a forklift to pick up a pallet instead of using your human functions to pick up a pallet is literally the application of smarter versus harder. The harder thing is using your body.
You can still work hard while using a forklift.
Are you?
I did.
Yes, you can.
But it's not the harder one. The harder
I'm
one
not
is
saying.
back.
I'm not saying. Listen, this is what I'm trying to say. The two don't have to be desperate. They don't have to be completely different. It does not have to be one or the other.
But that's the meaning. You don't have to.
I know, and I don't like that meaning. That's what I've been saying the whole time. I don't like it because it's making them different. But they don't have to be.
They are. You can use a slap chop instead of using your hands and a knife. You don't have to do the other one. You can do the smarter option.
You don't have to brute force your knife through a tomato.
My God,
you know the most efficient.
What is this conversation? I am saying I don't like the saying because it is used as an excuse by people to be lazy with certain things.
And so you don't like the people. It has nothing to do with the phrase.
But in my defense,
no, it has everything to do with the phrase.
I was not being lazy.
But they're using the phrase wrong.
We literally just had someone use it for that.
Listen,
but I wasn't being lazy, though.
Wrong.
You're saying that you don't like Shy, because Shy admitted.
Shy was the one that used the thing!
Yeah,
but I wasn't being lazy.
You literally just said I didn't make a list because I would just use stories.
No. I said I didn't make a list because I already knew between you and Thomas, I only said you back then, but between you and Thomas, you were already asked all the questions I already was going to ask.
But that is a smart thing to do, yes, to plan to utilize those questions. But you could have also worked hard at the same time and prepared a small list of things that I might have missed.
Oh man, that's extra homework.
What do you think I do every day?
What do you think Kaiser was going to miss, Ross?
Too much is what you do every day.
You do
I work like 10 hours as a construction safety person, and then I come home and write for 4, 5, 6 hours a day.
Yeah, calm down. Have some magic.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I mean, you can work smarter. Just use a no.
You are a hard worker. Whether or not you consider that a virtue is for you.
I do consider it a virtue.
Well, what's important here is that, of course, the entire discussion comes to, Roz, you don't have any questions.
No, not really, because
right.
Let's just put it this way: there's not a lot to what the fuck is this?
Kaiju?
There's not a lot to kaijus. They don't have like super duper in-depth stories. They're basically pay-per-views, watching two monsters land the SmackDown. Any questions I would have been surface level. I don't know enough about kaijus other than like specific stuff to the shows that I watch to ask anything profound. And I don't think they're meant to be profound. They're just meant to be fun. And I think that's the point. You don't have to think super duper hard about them. You just have fun
Modern
with
ones.
A lot of more modern ones are that, but also
I mean,
there is
you
a lot
say
of like.
modern, and I'm like, I've seen some old ones with
Hey.
Godzilla drop kicking a man.
I'm not saying that they're
I
not,
agree
but
with that.
also we cannot ignore the profound nature of the
originals.
original.
There you go, the originals.
There's
But you
a
know, we
lot
can
of
have
metaphor
both.
within a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Just like with working smart and hard, we can have both.
That's right, because you have to acknowledge that they're two.
Yeah.
No.
Like I'm not just playing Minecraft. I'm also drawing right now.
I'm kidding.
Not saying they're not different. I'm saying they don't have to be desperate. You don't have to choose one or the other.
I most certainly will, because working hard is a lot of work.
I'll work hard
It
in
is, in
certain
fact, hard work.
situations. I will not work hard in all situations.
I
I
accept
refuse.
that.
Did you really think working hard wasn't going to be hard work? Yes. As a matter of fact, I hoped. Thank you.
I had hoped so, actually.
If you want to work hard without working hard, just become a CEO.
But
you have to work hard to get there most of the time, unless you're, born into it.
Well,
No,
actually,
you just
hold
need nepotism.
True.
Listen,
Also-
as much as I make fun of the owner of my company, he did have to work hard to get to where the company is now.
Also, technically, we could just call ourselves employees of Twitter, because there's currently no HR team to verify it.
My company
yeah,
doesn't
I'm
have an HR
absolutely
department.
That's funny.
I also work for Kaiju.
Clayco. Won't you look at that?
You work for indiscriminate construction company.
I work for.
Oh my God, Bob's building
nothing.
construction. Hey, yo, what's up, my coworker? How you doing?
Russ, how did you
Dang.
drown?
Oh, I did it on purpose.
So since no one has any more questions, I would like
Other
to just
builder
answer
doesn't have a HR
some of
or
my own.
anything.
I was gonna say, yeah, you guys. I'm sure you have your own questions for us.
But see, that's the fun
No,
in
for
giant
y'all.
robot. I mean, in kaiju movies, it's just like you grab some popcorn and you watch people laugh the SmackDown. It's like watching wrestling. Like I
Except the
want to
wrestling
see
has a whole bunch of story
Godzilla
involved with it.
suplex
Sure.
Mothra.
It's never going to happen. Mothra's destined to be Godzilla.
Or be Godzilla's girlfriend, which is what
I mean, he can beat
always
Godzilla
died.
all he wants. I just want to see the
that just
No,
makes the
no,
romance
Mothra.
that makes
No,
the romance
Mothra
all the more
always beats
romanceable.
Godzilla.
Oh,
I did
Mothra's
not see
destined to
Mothra
be
win
Godzilla.
in the new one.
King of the Monsters.
She did.
Well,
She's the one who helped and saved Godzilla's life, so Godzilla could take down King Ghidorah.
I wasn't talking about King of the Monsters. I was talking about what is it, Shin Godzilla?
She's not in there.
wait, Maurice, where
In
are you?
the first of the new movies, there are two monsters. It's Godzilla and Mothra.
In which ones?
The
Shin Godzilla?
newest, the first of the newest ones.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's not Mothra. That's Muto.
What the fuck is Muto?
It's a different. It's a whole different creature.
It looked like a mod.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a bat. It looks like a bat.
It looks like a what?
It looks like a bat.
It did not.
The
look
two
like a bat.
Mutos.
What year did it come out?
The male and the female Mutos.
What year did it come out?
That's a good question. When did these come out? I have the list. I just need to find it for.
Stop laughing while you're eating food. It sounds weird.
Where is
Nom, nom, nom.
Chunkers? Not Godzilla Earth. Not this one.
Is it Shin Godzilla?
Shin Godzilla is a whole separate side story where they kind of go back to the roots.
Oh, wow, that looks awful. It came out in 2016. Why does it look so shit?
Well, it doesn't.
It's 2014.
There you are. MV Godzilla. Yeah, he fought two Mutos. That's not healthy.
That blurry image definitely looks like a moth.
No, that's Muto.
It doesn't look like a bat!
Doesn't look like Mothra either.
But it looks more like a moth than a bat.
She's in the one with Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, she's
and
in
she
the
dies
second
in that one.
She's in Skull Island? I mean, not. Oh, sorry.
No, she's in
confusing
King of Monsters.
I keep confusing Millie Bobby Brown with the other little girl that associates herself with Kong. No,
Yeah.
don't mind me.
So, in King of Monsters, Mothra shows up, defends Godzilla, and then dies.
Yes.
Yes.
What a character.
Plus
She
one
usually
for
dies.
Mothra.
She constantly does. She's kind of destined to die and resurrecting her child.
I gotta admit to you, Mothra really kind of acts like a from Madoka Magica. The time he was like, "I'll save you, Monica." Die. I'll save you again. Die. You know, I'm kind of getting tired of dying, but you still need to be saved.
Yeah. Mothra's whole point is that she is the actual guardian of the people. She will save your life. And she normally has to coerce Godzilla into not fucking shit up and to actually help.
Godzilla's just there to make a mess.
Yeah,
Godzilla's the
Godzilla
king.
just wants the hands.
You know what? I have thought of a question.
Yes.
Who is actually stronger? Is it Godzilla or is it King Ghidorah?
It is, in fact, King Ghidorah. But Godzilla gets handicaps and bonuses in each fight.
Has
Like,
Godzilla
they-
ever actually won?
Like, straight up 1v1? No
Yeah.
help? No. Literally, that's how the movie starts. Godzilla tries King Ghidorah, straight up 1v1, no help, gets taken down hard. Then people come to help. It doesn't matter who. It's like, oh, look, it's Mothra like, hey, Godzilla, Rodan, we have to stop fighting each other and beat up King Ghidorah because he's wreaking complete havoc on the world because he's actually trying to destroy everything. No. And then they do help and then they beat him.
All right,
Or
riddle me this
it's-
question then.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck do we call Godzilla King of the Monsters if he actively is the number 2 monster?
Because he wins.
I mean, I'm not
But
to say.
he
It's
cheats though.
Yeah, no. That's why my king is Ghidorah.
Mr. Historical Man, are you telling me that people cheat, subterfuge, and coerce in order to gain power? Oh my, I've never heard a human do that before.
Fucking Godzilla doesn't gain any power from beating Ghidorah. He just doesn't get his shit ran.
Oh no, he
Well,
actually
he's
does get
number one
powers.
again.
What do you mean he
gets
does get
power-ups.
powers?
He gets power ups a lot.
What
That's
are the
why
rules here?
The rules is this: winner takes all.
What does that mean?
So
Is
literally,
King Ghidorah worth XP? What's happening?
No, there's no XP. It's pretty much this: when they fight, something bad happens, aka Godzilla gets the shit kicked out of him, and then he gets some sort of power boost either by help from people, help from the Mothra, actual help as in we're gonna jump him 3v1. It's many different forms, but sometimes he'll get the power up where he becomes burning Godzilla.
You mean the one where he gets like the fire shit down his spine?
Yes, it's when his body starts to overheat to the point where he's just radiating nuclear energy. Then that
That
normally
can't
helps
be
when
healthy.
they. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's
I
still
mean,
fine.
for him, I'm worried about me.
No, it's not healthy.
I know it's not healthy for me. That's why I'm worried.
But yeah, normally King Ghidorah will beat the ever loving shit out of Godzilla. If there's ever just a 1v1, King Ghidorah will beat the ever loving shit out of Godzilla.
Feels
I mean,
like
Godzilla-
Ghidorah should be known as the King of Monsters then.
His name is King Ghidorah for a reason, and they don't take away King even after he loses.
Loses in big air quotes.
That's how I feel. My boy keep losing
Listen,
because he gets jumped.
getting jumped is an L. And
All
one
right.
of them
I
we
don't
had
think we should
are very
perpetuate that
angry about
opinion.
that.
I feel like that's a bad opinion.
I think a lot of Jujutsu Kaisen fans would have a different opinion.
Also,
from
sir,
that.
Wow, that's
Oh,
cool. They're
also-
wrong.
Also, sir, I'm from the hood. It is an L.
But if you get beaten up by 2 or more people, fuck them. They too scared to fight you one-on-one.
Sure.
Now,
you
if
can
they
say
jump
that.
you one at a time like it's an action movie, yeah, if you lose, you fucking the L.
Sure, you can say that.
not
But the
from
message. But the
But
message
I
was.
will say, any fight you walk away from, that's a win.
Nah, I've walked away
That
from some
is.
fights
It's
that
a
were
win.
not wins.
No, Shy, you're onto something. Here, let's make an equation here and marry these ideas together. A jump scenario occurs where it's you versus a multitude of enemies. If you manage to get away from that confrontation with as little damage as possible, that is indeed a W. However,
Through as
Going-
little damage as possible, I'm just trying to be not dead.
well,
That's
also true.
victory.
However, by your logic, then you could get beat to ever-loving crap by all of these people until they decide to stop, or until some outside force disperses them for you.
Yeah,
and sure,
and I
you're
won.
alive. That's not a W. I'm sorry.
Every fight I go
Listen.
into is
The
for my
condition for
life.
victory in the hood, and the condition for victory against King Ghidorah is how much damage did he sustain? If you did 40% of his health bar, you lost.
All right,
It's
hold
a
on.
time- It's a time-based thing. You
Hold
got
on.
3 minutes of runtime on this Godzilla movie.
Not
if you can't do
every
60% of his health in 3 minutes, that's an L, an auto wipe.
not every automatic interaction of a violent sort immediately has to either be a L or a W. There are, in fact, no contests.
I am glad you can have that opinion, area of America. I am glad you can
Yeah.
have that reality
you-
even in your area of America.
Listen, this isn't about. What do you
We
mean
live
in my
different
area
lives.
of America? This is
But
really.
not hood.
This is just a mindset.
Tell that to the
Did I get
doctor.
my ass jumped? Yeah, they kicked the shit out of me. Are they better
Tell
fighters
that
than
to
me?
my-
I don't know.
tell
There were
that-
8 of them.
Tell that to my parents who have to pay my expensive medical bills because I got jumped by 8 guys. That's an L.
Yeah, the
Worried
medical
about
bills are an
whether
L,
or
but the
not I'm a
fight
better
wasn't an
fighter
L.
than anyone. I'm just trying to be not dead.
I am talking specifically.
And what
fight.
facilitated the bills? Right. The fight is nothing. Is not just the realm of the confrontation.
It is
That is
though.
my point. The conditions for victory and loss involves the conflict, sure, because that is the right.
No, the fight is just the. Listen, John Jones
know
beat
what's
Daniel
happening
Cormier.
here
The
anymore.
fact that he popped for steroids doesn't mean that John Jones didn't kick the shit out of Daniel Cormier.
Again, you're using a professional setting when I'm talking about the hood, when I'm just a random citizen getting attacked.
But the
by
thing that you're
Daniel.
talking about for the hood is the before and after effects. If we're gonna
right.
include point A, but the before, after, and during, when I'm saying I think we should only count the during, I'm gonna give an example of why I think we should only do the during. Also, why don't you look at me during?
Doing what?
Thomas knows the
Look,
joke.
But
I know the joke.
yes, King Ghidorah would beat Godzilla.
Oh yeah, we're talking about kaiju.
Listen, King Ghidorah, sure, is a king, self-proclaimed.
It's all-
I fucking guess. One of
No,
those three
he
heads.
not even self-proclaimed. It's what they call him.
One of those 3 heads must have came up with a name. He loses. I'm sorry. You got jumped. That's how it works.
That's not a lot.
As a matter of fact,
Well, it,
Ghidorah. If I'm gonna be real with you, Ghidorah's cheating. Got 3 independent moving
if
heads.
this was a like sanctioned fight where they all came in agreement or whatever, then yes,
Sure,
he cheated.
right?
But
Sure.
that's not what this is. This
That
is
ain't
war.
what this is. This is the hood. This is Monster Hood.
This is monster v monster just in the back alley. Hey, we scrapping now.
That's right. We gotta stop judging this by our human entertainment. We
And
gotta start judging
so
this by survival rules.
whoever's not dead,
Yep.
they
It's
won.
normally Godzilla,
Yeah.
except for that
No
time he
matter how
drove.
many people have to get here to jump, King Ghidorah.
And also,
Godzilla won.
I will give it to Godzilla for Godzilla's very earned title of king, because only the kings in the Godzilla franchise have mecha versions of themselves. So, you either die a Mothra or you live long enough to get a mecha copy of you built to try to take you down.
Because a lot of Godzilla's greatest foes do have robot versions, like Gigan, one that most people don't know about if you're casually watching.
I do remember Gigan.
Yes, even though some of his greatest foes does not get Mega. Looking at you, Destroyer.
Something I wanted to talk about that isn't just like the scope of the monster movies themselves, but rather as how this franchise has become a part of the common culture. It spun off and inspired a lot of things, like not just the Godzilla movies themselves, but of course Godzilla and many of his iconic characters show up in many of the early Pokemon designs. Satoshi Tajiri and Ken Sugimori grew up on these kinds of movies, and some of the first Pokemon they ever created were like Nidoking. And I think not Tyranitar, that came much later, but various gigantic monstrous versions from the earliest Pokemon games were obviously inspired by Kaiju movies, and even to this very day, with some of the newest Pokemon released almost 2 decades later. Over again. Still based off of stuff. Obviously, we have various other things in the anime world, because obviously as another major Japanese piece of entertainment, they've done nothing but inspire off of their own history. We have various video games that include, at the very least, gigantic monsters, so I wouldn't consider the entire Elden Ring, Dark Souls, yes, everything from software. Probably outside of Sekiro's Dice Twice. I'm not sure if Sekiro only dealt with humans and didn't have any monsters, but I don't remember.
There was monsters.
Cool.
Giant snake, giant monkey, a few other things.
Yeah.
Dragon.
That is definitely wonderful.
Ballsy.
Obviously, there's board games based off of gigantic monsters. One of my favorite ones being King of Tokyo, where they're all legally distinct. Not legally distinct King Kong, Godzilla, gigantic bunny mech.
I would love it if their name was just a legally distinct X thing.
That's the running joke that I kept having when I was.
I mean, fucking.
Like that.
I think it's Scary Movie. Whatever, if it is Scary Movie, the best joke in Scary Movie is
Austin Powers?
Oh, is it Austin Powers?
It's Godzilla.
No, it isn't. It just looks like Godzilla because we didn't get the rights. Still, we should run like it's Godzilla, but it isn't.
That was a good one.
It's real good.
That makes more sense for Austin Powers. I was gonna say that's a surprisingly good joke for a Scary Movie.
But,
and by that I mean the Scary Movie franchise, because the Scary Movie movies aren't funny, and I don't know how people enjoy them.
I loved 1, 2, and 3.
I would say.
Listen, you guys fall into the category of I don't know how people enjoy it a lot of the time. That doesn't change the fact that I don't understand.
So, in Scary Movie, because the Grudge shows up, and I think in like Scary Movie 2 or 3,
It's 2.
In 2, our blonde character,
This is one of those like making fun of or like.
Yeah, the blonde character beats the young child apparition version of the Grudge, just sitting at the top of the stairs, and she just starts saying actual random one-off Japanese words that she know, but the subtitles try to pretend that she was saying fluid sentencing. And I saw that clip like once again a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
"Oh no, it was 3. My apologies."
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on back when I was watching it. Back when it first aired, because I was a child and I didn't know what Japanese even was. But now that I know what Japanese is, this is kind of funny.
Just kind of laughing at the different faces. I forget what this guy's name is, but
the Waynes?
Guy from
one of the Waynes, one of the black men.
Yeah, with the mask.
Oh, Ghostface.
Yes, Ghostface.
All the different masses are hilarious. This one with this on out. Great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh yes. So
a rom-com of just that guy.
Yeah. My point was that, of course, this has become a wide-scale piece of media. Whether or not it's ever focused on that particular piece of media, we'll see its influence pretty much anywhere we look. obviously across the greater tokusatsu franchise and practical effects genre of entertainment as well, that's still ongoing in Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and shit. A lot of it seems really impressive. I didn't actually get the chance. This is a new question off the top of my head that I get to ask you. What are your thoughts on their technology at the time, the use of their practical effects, namely the small scale versions of the cities and using the actors in their motion capture suits?
I loved it. It was great. That's literally just people in rubber suits.
You do what you gotta do at the time, and that's great. I don't like people saying that it's better than what we have now.
The digital 3D version? Right.
Yes.
There's a distinct advantage that I see the more 3D modeled movies have, especially that one gag in Skull Island that all of us shared in the group chat. Remember, Maurice, when you asked us about a funny death, and I remembered that the dude tried to nobly sacrifice himself to the skull crawler, and the skull crawler was like, smack, and he flew into the air and just blew up.
My favorite Kaiju movie of all time is like, I don't remember the year, but the one with Jack Black.
Right, you said this before. It was isn't this still Skull Island?
No, this is
Skull Island.
Or is this the one before?
I forget. I think it's just
Might.
Yeah, it's Peter Jackson's King Kong.
God fucking damn it, you did it again.
Got jumped by a bunch of zombies again?
No, Maurice dressed up in his fucking creeper outfit.
Good job, Maurice.
God damn it.
That movie's beautiful. It's honestly still holds up. And that is not nostalgia talking.
I respect.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't like hearing people say that, like, practical effects are better than that. No.
It's always good to have a nice mix of things.
Yeah, a nice mix is good. I just... Some dude in a suit isn't going to be able to recreate King Kong ripping the tongue out of a dinosaur.
Right. There's something I particularly like about the practical effects. However, when it comes to the particular media that is always more lighthearted, often a lot of this is still used for children-based programming, like a good number of the Super Sentai series, where, you know, you just see man in the rubber suit. Sure, it's alien, monstrous and non-humanoid, sometimes completely. So the people watching it are like, yeah, this is indeed a creature. Our pattern recognition brains go, yes, that is not a human. We can suspend our disbelief and not believe that this is a man in a suit. Rather, this is monster doing monster thing. And sometimes the way it kind of, like, practically, the way somehow the suits move because of the human having so much space sometimes between their actual body and the suit outers itself, they sometimes wiggle a little bit, and it's always very endearing to me. So it was just like, haha, I am here to defeat you today. Well, heroes, they vibrate slightly.
To add a little bit to what Shai was saying, even I, a hater of the newest trilogy of Star Wars films, will tell you that despite the fact that it is entirely CGI, the scene in The Last Jedi where they, completely breaking the rules of that world's physics, smash essentially the starfighters together while going light speed, that shit's way fucking prettier than the run on the Death Star that they did. And the run on the Death Star was a bunch of man children with a bunch of models flying around a little cutout of what the Death Star would look like. And I say that in the most endearing way possible. I would have fucking loved that job. I also guarantee that they were in there going, And no one could convince me I'm wrong. But yeah. That was just the 2 cents I wanted to add.
No, Maurice.
So-
Did you have any questions for us?
Questions for y'all. That's the tough part because I wasn't thinking of y'all. I was gonna just ask myself questions.
Ha! No. Oh, why would I ever make this? It's not like you were
questions
doing.
for y'all.
It's not like you were doing a dissertation on this. This is much more like a two-way interview.
If I had to ask y'all a question, it would probably be, what style of movie would you like to see a giant monster in?
Repeat that
If you
question
haven't-
once more.
Buddy cop drama.
So, Buddy Cop giant monsters.
Oh, that's. Oh, I would love
Like,
to see
you
that.
can have a human and one giant monster as Buddy Cops. Or 2 giant monsters as Buddy Cops.
No, you get the guy from Lethal Weapon, the African American man who was consistently saying I'm too old for this crap. You get him, and you pair him with Godzilla. And Godzilla is the fresh-faced rookie.
I believe it. It will work. Someone will watch
No,
it.
Godzilla.
Godzilla still doesn't get to speak English,
hitting
by
the-
the like, or
hitting-
Japanese.
hitting
He
them
doesn't get to
with-
speak, by the way.
hitting them with the radiation beam. Not how we. I'm taking away your donuts if you don't. I'm taking away your donuts if you break police custom.
Any other ways y'all would like to see gigantic monsters doing things?
I want to see him in a UFC match, basically.
Alright, I got
They-
you already. Check out the first episode of Love, Death Plus Robots so you can see Sunny.
Oh yeah.
Same there.
Like, I want announcers announcing the hits,
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Yep.
Go check out Sunny.
Great.
Oh, so when it comes to genres, one of the interesting parts is that most stories with giant monsters already involve their metaphorical elements, the idea that because they're big monster, they are a great vehicle for action, both as something we fire human weaponry at, or we have the monster fight other monsters with their weaponries. I am more legitimately interested in a more educational piece of content where they just dissect, with quotes, not actual dissection, where they just study monsters. Someone just making an encyclopedia of just the monsters, capabilities, what they can do.
I was gonna
So-
say the Monster Hunter and launch the Crocodile Hunter.
Yeah, a day in the life. Basically something that Steve Irwin would 100% wanted to be part of. Crikey, there goes Godzilla. It's a feisty fella. And we actually heard...
Look at that beauty.
Look at that beauty. And we actually heard that so far, Godzilla is the only specimen of his existence of this generation.
I have 2 answers. One's a joke answer, as per usual, and the other one's a legitimate.
Both will work.
Excellent.
The joke one is a time period drama.
Yeah.
Okay. Romance of the 3 monsters? I respect it.
Mm-hmm.
The
What's the other one?
actual answer, coming of age story.
Like the Iron Giant?
Sure, but
I say you go.
just big old, yeah, like Iron Giant, but not
I like
Iron
it.
Giant.
Oh, like you're like the coming age of the monster.
Yes.
I think that's I think that one's called Rampage.
It is
it's-
very big.
Also
Oh,
called
that's-
the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
It's so real contextual question. Because humans are not a part of the Land Before Time series, do you consider them kaiju?
I just I kind of just consider them dinosaurs doing dinosaur
I mean, to be
things.
honest, Littlefoot and the gang are way smaller than the T-Rex that wanted to eat them. So
but they made friends with a smaller T-Rex.
true.
Yeah.
So
If you call that a kaiju movie, then the other like Disney movie with the dinosaurs, what is that called?
I think it's
Dinosaurs?
just called dinosaurs.
Would
They
that
were very
make
lazy with that
Maleficent
one.
a kaiju?
Yes,
Well,
they
yes,
transform
she
to a big
turns
old
into a
dragon.
giant dragon. Dragons themselves are pretty much kaijus in most interpretations because most of those dragons are absolutely too large for their own good.
Monster Hunter has kaijus.
Is Aragon
Yeah.
a kaiju movie?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a Little Mermaid a kaiju movie.
Yes, because Ursula turns very big.
Turn into a whole kaiju. I got scared.
Ursula's my favorite kaiju now.
Yeah, respect. She's a kaiju that is, sapient, able to actually talk with and cast spells. That's badass. Most of the Lovecraftian horrors are kaijus. It's a very, very specific genre of entertainment that's supposed to tell you, no, there's no victory condition for you or human, except your lot in life.
Thanks, Godzilla.
You're welcome, buddy.
Do I have another question? Do you have a favorite kaiju? Just, even if you know it by name.
Favorite big monster. So I'm
Gypsy
going
Danger.
to cheat. Ooh, please tell
Fair
me
enough.
about Gypsy Danger.
Pacific Rim?
I didn't remember the name of it. I didn't remember the name of most of the creatures, unfortunately.
No, it's the main character, Mech.
Ah, that makes more. Cause do any of the monsters in Pacific Rim have it?
And that's its name.
Yes,
I'm
they
not saying
all-
a slur.
They all have names.
Every single one of the kaijus have names.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to cheat, and I'm gonna first talk about my favorite kaiju from a video game series. You already mentioned Monster Hunter. One of my ringtones is actually Basil Goose, or I like to call it Bagel Geese, because it's just giant monster with exploding scales, and it always, without interruption, tries to weasel its way in to your hunt of another monster. It's very funny. Back when the game that it did got out, most of the player base actively hated the monster because of how intrusive it was. And it makes people angry at it. That's pretty base. When it comes to the movies, and the spectrum of gigantic monsters, I did like Mothra a lot. Mostly because of the things that we've already talked about. She is very amicable towards humans and even protecting. And also, most of the Mothra designs are fairly beautiful. One of the things that helped me get endeared with it a little is from one of the recent Pokemon games where they gave Butterfree a gigantic form that made it look very reminiscent of Mothra, full iridescent wings.
Love.
So, it's very nice.
Do you have any babies?
Yes, I also lied. My first kaiju movie was My Jo-Yun, and My Jo-Yun is my favorite.
Respect.
Mine is cheating a little bit. My favorite kaiju is Skaith from Dot Hat.
Oh my.
In Dot Hat GU, certain players have the ability to transform into something called phases, and they're basically fragments of the old world personified. So Skeeth is the terror of death. He was the personification of death in the old world. And he manifests as a giant clown-like reaper. And I am edgy boy, and I think that's dope.
You're edgy? I don't believe you.
No.
Impossible.
Oh what?
Oh, whoa? Sorry. I shouldn't have.
But yeah, if you look up a picture right now, like Skeeth, you would understand. He's great.
Spell that.
SKIETH.
And you all know my favorite monster is King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Greatest, best. When he first showed up, it wasn't even named a Godzilla movie. It was
Is
named
nothing ever
Ghidorah.
gonna keep them down?
No. They keep coming back. But yeah, when they first showed up, they didn't show up in the Godzilla name movie. No, it was his name. It was still a Godzilla movie, but it was named Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And Wreck Shop.
It is his movie. Now, since you've already talked about at least one favorite of yours, Maurice, do you have any other kaijus that you particularly like alongside Ghidorah?
I have a ton, and they're not even just from the Godzilla's thing. Like, so remember how we were talking about Pacific Rim?
That's right.
There is a specific one named Leatherback. You will recall Leatherback as the one that Gypsy Danger had to fight outside the city.
Right.
And it was the big gorilla-looking one.
Ah.
So the first thing that Leatherback can do that I have not seen many other giant monsters do that scared me, and was like, this creature is probably the greatest thing of all time. It can jump.
Uh-oh. That's
Nothing
Right.
that big should jump.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
motor functions be motoring.
And
Kong's great.
Kong is crazy. Kong can also, oh, that's a parrot, jump.
It is big gorilla. Much to our dismay.
Yeah. In the way that they like Leatherback was just beating up Gypsy Danger, and that's not why I love it, but it was the fact that not only was it beating up Gypsy Danger, it was pretty badass. It's the one who took down the two other ones. I think his name was Alpha Centaurian and what was the Asian one? Crimson Typhoon. Those were like, oh, okay, that's right. We got some good ones coming in there. Nah, they got smoked to me. Thanks to the sky.
I thought that those two got by two of them.
Yeah, they did. Leatherback had a friend.
Yeah, I know.
I think it was Knifehead.
One in the sky.
No, that one came. Oh yeah, you're right. That
Was
one
Leatherback the one that had a built-in EMP?
Yes.
Fucking cheater.
Hey, you can't help what you're born with.
But it is your responsibility to use your weapons.
They should have used theirs.
Hard to use your weapons when their weapons disable your weapons.
That's
That's
their
your
fault.
That's your fault for having weapons
Listen.
that can be disabled.
They didn't kick Leatherback in the dick. He shouldn't have used the EMP. That's basically the equivalent.
That's their fault. They should have. Why
Yes.
didn't you? Idiot.
Because
Now
cheating.
you're dead.
Idiot.
You're dead.
Okay.
Vaquero.
But
No such thing as cheating and when it's a scrap of life and death.
Listen, I'm only going for the balls if I'm almost dead.
Then do that.
They didn't have a
Whatever
chance
gives you
to.
victory, that's...
Ate them.
yeah, I also love
Ask the
Gamera.
dead if a fight is fair.
Gamera is like still one of the greatest, even if the good old fashioned. Can he beat Godzilla? No, most things can't beat Godzilla. But goddamn it,
But can he beat
Gamera-
Goku though?
No, Goku would fucking rip a hole through that poor creature.
No. Goku's the same. He'll find a way to lose.
Yes, the first one. I mean, in all reality, they'll get along. Gamera don't want that smoke unless you bring it.
Damn it, here I was in a smoking jacket.
But whatever giant monsters did I just instantly fall in love with? Now this one may sound weird, but I am in love with all the bugs in Starship Troopers, especially the beetle.
The beetle?
The beetle.
Can you elaborate on that one, Chief?
So there's this gigantic Hercules beetle with two, like, has like the Hercules beetle horn, and it can make plasma. It just shoots hot plasma. And I was like watching that poor black girl just burn to death from the hot plasma. I was like, that's the greatest thing ever. I want it.
I want it.
Look, as a kid, like as a kid, I was always like, I could tame it. I could tame all of them.
Oh, that's where we've discovered something. You have the I can fix them, not about human parts.
Not even
What about
fix
giant
them. I
monsters?
just want them as pets. I want them all. Just an army of them. Like, I got so
catch 'em
jealous of the
all.
Zerg Queen.
Yeah.
She got to control all the bugs. But yeah, the giant beetle. The Kezu from Monster Hunter, my favorite. Well, technically my second favorite monster, but no matter what, I'm like, this is the one I want to keep as a pet. It will live on my ceiling and eat nothing but turkey. Its name is
Escaping
Kiwi.
Dragon from Dark Souls.
Ooh. I didn't play Dark Souls.
A lot of the Dark Souls big old monsters.
I
speak to me.
have one, but if people look her up, they're gonna get the wrong idea.
Sure.
I don't think that's
Now
the case,
you
but all right.
gotta tell me.
Garuda from Final Fantasy,
Okay.
specifically
Garuda.
14.
Okay.
Ah, okay. So the
Garuda.
She's basically a flying, half-naked
I remember
woman
this.
bird thing, but
Yeah.
I have a particular attachment to her because in the
Why
game
would you
they
call
give
her
you
a half angel bird thing when she's very clearly just attempting to be a biblical angel?
Because that's what
I called her a
that's what biblical
half-naked
angel
bird
thing.
thing.
Because she's
Just call her a
That's what she
half-naked biblical angel.
But I have a
It's more
particular
like a heartbeat than
yeah, she has elements of both a harpy and an angel, but mostly harpy. But
I've never seen a
I-
harpy that has the 6 wings of the archangels, but please continue.
I have a particular attachment to her because early on in my adventure, I had been gifted a wind-up version of her, and the wind-up version of her is basically a tiny chibi version that you get get as a pet to follow you around. So she does this thing where she'll periodically fly around you and do her, because Garuda's very boastful and she likes to flex a lot. She'll, like, her chibi form will fly around, do her Garuda scream and float and be silly. But every now and again, she'll fly and cling to your shoulder and just float. And I thought that was so adorable that I
Right.
used that pet almost exclusively throughout my journey in Final Fantasy. And it wasn't until recently that I started switching up and using other pets.
I definitely.
Does Hades and Medusa count from Kid Icarus?
How big are they?
You're talking about the monsters.
Medusa's
one?
gigantic.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they're
Kid
Yes.
Icarus.
freaking huge,
And yes.
They count.
they also
Uh,
would be up there.
Gotta throw out to my homeboy Gridman.
That's so. Since Gypsy Danger about and not the various flavors of Blue Alien, I have a lot of attachments.
The
To-
JJ Wire.
No, I have a lot of attachments to other giant robots, especially one that's sentient. I love the Voltron.
Voltron.
Voltron is just badass. I also found a funny image for Yusha. La da dee dee da. Put it in general.
There may
Copy
be
and paste.
too many kaijus for me to list them all.
No,
There's a lot.
we got
I-
the general idea.
Because I chose Gypsy Danger because I don't really have a favorite actual big monster. Gun to my head, you have to say a favorite one. Honestly, probably King Ghidorah, but that's because of the fact that King Ghidorah is just a 3-headed dragon, and dragons are dope.
Dragons are dope.
Dragons
No
are-
doubt about that.
That and I don't
I don't know
count.
what
I don't count
words
every
are.
dragon as a kaiju.
I
I-
mean, Smog is right there.
I don't think that that's how kaiju works, and I need to look up the definition before I put my own foot in my goddamn mouth.
It just means strange creature.
You know, are we sure Smaug isn't just a wyvern?
It is, by the agreed-upon definition of the nerds of the modern era, Smaug is in fact a wyvern.
Ooh.
But all wyverns are dragons.
But here's the thing. The agreed-upon definition of what dragons are is a current thing. Fucking, they weren't all called dragons. They all have fucking different names throughout fucking different regions. Fucking in the same time period, literally everywhere across the world, with like, yes, flying lizard that does things.
That's right. Sometimes they
Dragon.
If they had all said dragon in every language and every dialect around the world, that was an alien. But it's not, it's just another fucking whitewashing of names being done.
So dragons built the pyramids. Thanks, dragons.
Listen, it makes sense. They could curl around the base of it.
Yeah.
I love worms. Not actual worms, but the class of dragon.
Yeah, I think that worms are legitimately the F tier of dragons.
I think they're
fucking dare you.
They're boring. It's just a big snake.
We know what we're going to do after the stream, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, according
Wagon tier list.
According to the Oxford definition of kaiju, which again, Japanese word that is being defined by a bunch of English people, I believe, is where Oxford is. A giant monster of a type featured in Japanese fantasy and science fiction movies and television programs, which would exclude Smaug, because Smaug is Western, not Japanese.
Oh, Western dragons are boring anyway.
Oh my god.
Wow, wrong, but okay.
Hey, Chief, what are you doing?
Am I the chief that you're talking to?
No, my parrot's trying to drown himself.
This sucks. I'm gonna have to just hard make...
Listen, if you want to like the most boring type of dragon, you go ahead. I won't stop you. I'll judge you, but I won't stop you.
I like worms.
I'm gonna have to...
You're allowed to like the most boring type of dragon, too.
Why is it boring?
They're literally a snake.
I mean, what makes your winged ones better?
The fact that it's not a fucking normal-ass snake. It is a giant, four-legged creature that not only has the same amount of intelligence as the worm in most cases, but also, a lot of worms don't even breathe fire.
Yes, because those Eastern worm dragons usually can take human form, are more intelligent, worshipped as gods, and have multiple elemental powers, and not just I breathe fire and rape women.
Oh wow!
All right,
wow.
Most of the dragons don't rape women because they legitimately could only rape women if they were able to go into human form. So I would put money down that the worms would be more likely to do that than the giant one that would not even be able to do that.
Western dragons are the ones who are famous for I take the virgin girls from your village.
Yeah, I believe that what you're looking for is they're famous for taking the princess, and generally they did that for ransom money. Because they wanted more gold. At least learn the lore of the thing you're trying to insult.
I think my favorite...
Having an actual desire rather than just being a long fucking snake and going, yes, I have knowledge. What does your knowledge tell you? I'll tell you about it later. And then they don't.
Oh, because being greedy and taking everybody's money.
At least being an active player in the story is entertaining. The worms are just there. Like, yes, we could go talk to the worms for help. And then they go to the worm, and the worm is like, meh. And then they find out that the power they...
some actual lords from worm dragons.
Oh,
I have. You want to know what the fucking worm dragons do?
Apparently not any good lore.
In the Journey to the West? Fucking nothing. Fucking... What's his bucket? The Monkey King shows up in his house and he goes, oh, hi, what are you doing here? Oh, nothing, I just want a weapon. Okay. I'll give you some... I'm gonna take this pole from the middle of your house. That is literally just a support pillar, but I enchanted it to grow in size. I don't know why I did that for the support column of my house, but okay, bye. And then he left. And then also the least effective member of their team was also a water dragon. And Pigsy exists on that team, so the fact that he is the least effective member of that team is saying something. His most effective form, when he's a horse.
He's talking about the journey to the west.
I know, but trying to figure out how we stumbled here.
Because
Roz decided to start talking shit.
Kaiser.
No, you talk shit first.
I said that they were the most boring.
Like worm dragons, and you talk shit.
Wanted to know if kaijus could incorporate all of the dragons, and we have talked about that. Yes, the term for kaiju directly translates to strange creature, and generally, yeah, it's just big monster. This is why we've been saying it for the last couple of weeks when we talked about the subject, because that's honestly what it just boils down to. Big, sometimes unexplainable. What is a dragon if not big and sometimes unexplainable?
Wait, does the frogs from Naruto count as kaiju?
Absolutely.
They
You know how
100%
they are?
would.
Those things are massive.
Yeah, a lot of those summons are kaijus. That one opening had a whole kaiju fight in the background.
Right. That was like the entire point between all three of the like Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade when they, Mexican stare down. They were just riding on their kaijus. Now, since we've went into a diatribe about various dragons, I know for a fact we pretty much have exhausted a good number of talking points on this subject. So, Maurice, I will leave it to you. Do you have any insightful commentary left about big monsters, the franchise, its genre, and the various kinds of stories that we find involving them?
The last bit of insight I can say is there is nothing wrong with liking watching monsters just beat the snot out of each other. But do remember, you can't just have the monsters beating the snot out of each other. It could happen, but it's going to take a lot more skill than actually just having a good story with some humans and the giant monsters beating the snot out of each other. You have to do both. And if you don't do both, it's going to be harder for you to... What's up?
It just randomly popped into my head. Is there a giant kaiju movie where there is actually a guy announcing it? Like, he's being the wrestling announcer for it, and he's just sending in camera crews. He's not there himself, but he has a crew there in a helicopter recording the fight, and they're just there to record it or die.
The closest that you will get to that at this moment is Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, where it is pretty much, look, who cares about the humans? Who cares about any of that? Godzilla is going to beat, so pretty much in that one, aliens come down and they pretty much sent every foe they ever had at Godzilla. And Godzilla beats the shit out of all of them. That's the story. That's what's happening. Godzilla is not on a rampage. Godzilla's in a slobber knocker.
You should watch that. This sounds like a good cage match.
It was really good. You'll actually get to see the obliterate him. It's like literally like 10 seconds of atomic breath, just out of pure spite for existing. It is a really fun one, and you also get to see Godzilla finally face King Ghidorah in the 1v1 that they've always needed, and this will be the one time where he just does beat King Ghidorah in that straight up fight.
Does the Henry Cavill dust off the cuffs?
Pretty much, but during the fight, King Ghidorah is evolving. They literally start off with like small King, like pretty much a small Ghidorah, and he evolves over time. This is when he's Monster X, and then he transforms more and more and more until we get the monster that I know and love. It's fun.
Sounds fun.
Yay.
Things not to do. Kind of just the biggest problem. Don't have it just be the people when the name of the movie is the monster. Like, if I watch The Iron Giant and you only gave me 5 minutes of The Iron Giant, I'm not coming back to watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they did with that That Power Rangers movie they did, and they were only like Power Rangers in the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, like you gotta give the people what they're paying their money to come see. If I come to see a Godzilla movie, I want to see a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Now, don't just forget the humans, but also give them something to do, because you literally had Millie Bobby Brown just standing there gawking at everything Godzilla was doing and not helping, while everyone on Kong's side was like holding his hand, talking him through it, finding him a new home. Everyone was just it was like, wow, they did not know what to do with Godzilla in this movie, or the humans following Godzilla in this movie. And they just didn't need them. They could have just not existed. Sure, did they help in the end? I mean, they poured soda on the console that housed Ghidorah's brain, and it made him glitch out for a second and gave them the opportunity to win. But like, if that was all you were gonna do, we didn't need that 45 minutes of y'all just bumbling around. That was really
Yeah.
Eh.
not as bad
Man.
as the first one. Pissed me off.
I still want Gangland Godzilla.
Gangland Godzilla. You just want the wire. Godzilla.
Yes. Godzilla doesn't deal in drugs. He deals in property damage.
That is also funny. Yeah, I liked that. I believe it was a Reddit thread where someone was just like, "No, it would be nice if like Godzilla was a part of a family where he's the older brother that deals in property damage, and his younger brother, a much smaller reptile, the Gecko, deals with
I
insurance."
saw that.
That's great. But I did actually have a story very similar to that, but it was more, I guess it's kind of already been done with like the Vampire Diaries or whatever. It was basically a mafia story, but there was different monster families.
Oh.
So it was like wraiths, dragons, werewolves, vampires, all types of stuff. And they ran different areas of the city and at different times of the day. Because like the werewolves and the vampires all ran like the nightclubs and stuff like that.
In that respect.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for Kaiju specifically.
I don't think we could get that for a kaiju.
I love Digimon.
Unfortunately, Pokemon don't get big enough to be kaiju.
That's why I love Digimon.
Most of them.
Digimon gets really big.
Yeah.
Those are kaiju.
Well, I mean, if we count Digimon, there's too many Digimon to even fucking talk about.
Mm-hmm. But yep. So yeah, if you want to make a kaiju story, just remember some, little helpful tips. Just like in any story, these are all characters, and they all, if they're going to be in a story, they kind of gotta be a little important. Like if you're gonna give them a name, they gotta do something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're nurse number 5.
True. I mean, that's all. I don't have anything else to add. And
This is the thing with giant monster movies. Like I said, it's pretty simple and straightforward.
yeah, quite true. Often very simple.
Kaiser, rate a giant monster movie.
I'm already working on fucking 3 stories. My plate's full. 4.
Do I
forgot there's another one.
have a favorite movie? I guess my favorite giant monster movie is Pacific Rim, the first one.
Really?
Respect.
It's a real good one.
It's a really good movie, and it shows the desperation between the humans versus the giant monsters. That, thanks to whoever's genetically engineering them, they are learning and evolving to just combat us. It's like, oh man, the first ones were stupid. The second wave, still stupid. The third wave, little smarter. The fourth wave, oh, there's only 5 of us left. It was bad.
The fourth wave, they have EMPs, and we're all screwed.
And then you got to see the will of the humans to fight each other, and it also had Mr. Idris Elba, who gave one of my favorite insults accidentally. Like, it was definitely meant to be an insult, but at the same exact time, it was more motivation. It was like, sir, how are we going to meld into the drift? I already understand you. Just gave him 5 insults. Wait, what about you, sir? I bring nothing into the drift. Jesus, Mr. Idris Elba. Nothing? You bring no emotion, no memory, no anything. You just meld to me perfectly. I bring nothing.
Oh, I forgot about this one, and I am going to count it based on everything we've said tonight. I'm gonna post it in chat before I say the name.
Okay.
All right. You have to go to chat.
Yep.
Sure.
Slifer the motherfucking Sky Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
sure.
thinking of the Egyptian gods. They're
My
actually pretty fucking badass.
favorite alternate name for it. Slifer the executive producer.
I'm thinking Tormentor, Cypher the executive producer, and Ultra Flaming Mega Chicken.
Little ultra flaming mega chicken.
Respect. Alright, that is, I believe, it for my...
Yep, I believe
Yeah,
you are
well,
correct, sir.
Yeah, I'm
That's a bunch of
solid.
questions.
I got
You got some
nothing
good answers. Y'all learned on the internet that I am literally the biggest fan of kaijus here. I love giant monsters.
Monsters are giant, and they deserve to be... Big monsters need love too.
Oh no. Don't say that. Don't say that. We'll end up on that half of DeviantArt.
I mean... When I was answering
Don't
Maurice's
stop.
question, I did consider just saying a romance story between 2 monsters. I think that would be very sweet.
Well, actually, technically, we do have that already.
I know we do.
Because there's a story, because they're alive, they count as kaiju. There's a story about 2 mountains who are in love with each other. It's a small animated short.
Yes.
And I think one of them is a volcano. It is a very nice story.
Lava.
Yes.
Very.
I have in fact created my tier list already, by the way.
Oh,
Yes,
the dragons?
Yeah.
Nice.
Of dragons, of course.
I'm trying to see if it's
It didn't end up looking well enough for us to do it on stream. But
Oh, my favorite is Lane Worm Bane.
Oh, so you want them to have the arms? I see.
Yes. The
that
2
is-
front arms.
I'm wondering if it's worth showing this stream.
Nah, you're fine.
The stream's over.
In fact,
Well, the
you
stream
know,
isn't over. It's still going.
The stream's
you
over.
know, if they,
The stream is over. Go make something.